Tonight, the college football season begins in Houston, where the Cougars hope to slice up Oregon. The atmosphere is festive, but just a few hundred yards away at the Astrodome, a stark reminder of the overwhelming tragedy and suffering brought on by Hurricane Katrina. Houston has opened its doors, its hearts, and its wallets to help thousands of victims. Welcome to the start of another season of college football primetime on ESPN2. Tonight from Reliant Stadium, it's a matchup between the Pac-10 and Conference USA as Oregon takes on Houston. Hello, everybody, and welcome. I'm Sean McDonough along with Craig James. Delighted to have you with us and delighted to be kicking off another season of college football coverage here on the ESPN family of networks. And Craig, we have two teams that have been looking forward to the start of this season for a long time. Both the Ducks and Cougars off disappointing seasons a year ago. Oregon 5-6, their first losing season since 1993, and they made some changes as a result.
So the Ducks have changed their flight pattern, in other words. This offense, they brought in Gary Croton, the former head coach at BYU. Croton's a guy who really is creative. They've gone around and studied a lot of different schools' playbooks. This is an offense that we don't really know what to expect in it. Other than this, it will be wide open. This offense will throw the football, and they have a veteran quarterback in Kellen Clemens to get it done.
It was a disappointing season last year for Oregon. It was as well for Houston. The Cougars went 3-8. That was on the heels of a 7-win season and an appearance in a bowl game. They've made some changes, most notably on defense.
And they go from a 4-man defensive line to a 3-4. So they're going to do that because they have a lot of speed at linebacker, particularly on the outside. And so the outside linebackers for Houston tonight, if they don't get after Kellen Clemens when he's back to throw the football, Oregon will score a lot of points.
And tonight we'll get a look at Haloti Ngata. Coach Mike Bellotti says he's as great a football player as he's ever seen at this level. He's the defensive tackle. He'll have his sights set on Houston's talented all-around quarterback, Kevin Cobb. The Ducks and Cougars. The season begins right after this.
ESPN2's College Football Primetime, brought to you by eLoan. For home or equity loans, go to eLoan.com. eLoan, radically simple. Right guard, get the power strike from right guard. Right guard, right to the end of the day. And the famously fresh taste of Planters.
Spread out on the floor of the dome, milling around the stands, trying to find family members, trying to find a cot and a place to sleep, a hot meal, a shower, just soap and toothpaste. It is quite incredible. This whole relief effort started about 24 hours ago when some 20,000 people from the Superdome in New Orleans tried to make the trek here. A 350-mile journey was made. And throughout the evening, Sean will tell you some of their incredible stories and also how the folks here at Reliant Stadium and the University of Houston are helping out with some free tickets.
Yeah, that's just, it is a remarkable story and a little bit of a relief for some. And hopefully some of those refugees are here at the stadium tonight. They've been invited in. If you've got a driver's license from one of those states down below, come on out and enjoy the ball game.
Oregon on offense. They received the opening kickoff after Houston deferred, and Kellen Clemens is in the shotgun on 1st and 10 from the 32-yard line. In that new look spread, designed in part to take advantage of the running ability of Clemens. He keeps and goes to the 35. The rest of the backs and receivers for the Ducks. Terrence Whitehead with a chance at the end of the season to be Oregon's all-time leading rusher. And outstanding skill people throughout. Demetrius Williams fully healthy after injuries a year ago. The question mark on offense is the offensive line. The center, Anoka Lucas, an excellent player. Questions particularly on the left side where they have very little experience. Clemens keeps again, and this time he is tripped up behind the line of scrimmage by Brendan Bahulu. Bahulu, an all-conference USA all-freshman selection. Up front in this new look 3-4, the best player is Gerard Richard. The linebackers, inexperience inside. Lubajaski and Allen are brand new starters with very little playing time. And in the secondary, Sterling Schwartz Pope, a converted cornerback, and Gaston. 3rd down and 8 now for Clemens and the Oregon Ducks. Houston showing blitz. They rush 5. Clemens hit as he threw, and it's incomplete. His intended receiver fell down. He was looking for James Finley, a junior college transfer, playing in his first game for Oregon. So not a smooth start for this new look offense for Oregon. 3 downs and out.
How about Clemens running the football the first 2 plays of this game, where we thought they were going to come out and really open things up and throw the ball. Wade Cole from the outside, the linebacker, the speed, getting to Clemens in the backfield. We talked about it in the open. That's why they've gone to this 3-4 defense. They feel like that with Cole and others, they can get to the quarterback and make opportunities for them.
Matt Dragich to punt. He's a new punter in his first year at Oregon. Junior college transfer. They've gone to a new protection scheme as well, with that 3-player shield right in front of him, and an excellent punt. Out of bounds and not returnable along the far sideline. Although it's not quite as excellent as the official on the far side of the field keeps walking. The high booming kick, but it crossed the boundary near the 40-yard line, so officially just a 29-yard punt. And excellent field position for Kevin Cobb. He has started every game of his career, all 24, in his true freshman and sophomore seasons. Now a junior from Stephenville, Texas, about an hour outside of Fort Worth.
Young man that was put in the frying pan as a freshman, and watching him in games like against Michigan when he was a freshman, those are going to be the foundation for the years to come, his junior and senior year.
And a deep throw on 1st down, incomplete. He was looking for Anthony Allridge, who's blessed with great speed, but he wasn't on the same page with Kevin Cobb. It is pronounced Cobb, even though it's spelled K-O-L-B. Anthony Evans, their leading rushing threat, injuries a year ago, but he ran for more than 1,000 2 seasons ago. And Vincent Marshall with great speed outside. Up front, David Douglas will have his hands full at right tackle, or right guard rather, as he goes up against defensive tackle Haloti Ngata. Coach Art Briles says Douglas has a chance to make a name for himself tonight against the best defensive lineman they've faced in Briles' 3 years as head coach at Houston. Evans out to the 43. And the Oregon defense, Ngata, a mammoth man in the words of Nick Aliotti, the defensive coordinator up front, at nearly 350 pounds. Haberly, a walk-on, starts at middle linebacker. And in the secondary, 40 combined career starts between Gibson and Finney, outstanding corners. Chung, an 18-year-old redshirt freshman. He just turned 18 about 2 weeks ago. Starts at Rover. Cobb is an excellent runner, as is Clemens, but he's pulled down. A good tackle in the open field to stop him short of the 1st down.
Closing speed on defense there. Coming up getting Kevin Cobb. I thought Cobb tried to push it down the field a little bit too much. Maybe both quarterbacks a little antsy, a little early in the season here, eager to make something happen. When just play the game, manage it like what's there for you.
A high snap, entirely new specialist unit for Houston, and this was a big concern for Art Briles. Justin Laird gets the punt off, and he did a great job to get that back out near midfield as he had run almost all the way back to the end line. It's a punt of -1, but it could have been a catastrophe for Houston back near the goal line. No chance for Laird, the punter, as it was snapped well over his head. That's a true freshman playing in his first game right out of high school. Norby Juice, the snapper, who airmailed one over the head of Justin Laird. No chance for the junior punter to field the snap. He did well to kick the ball out to the 46-yard line. So excellent field position for Oregon, looking to set up a screen, and it is dropped by Demetrius Williams, their leading returning receiver. He caught 47 last year, despite the fact he was bothered by toe injuries and hamstring injuries for the entire season.
No matter how much you try to prepare in two-a-days and practice during the summer, the tempo is different in a ball game. And right now, a guy like Demetrius Williams doesn't drop passes like that.
Back to the run. Terrence Whitehead trying to turn the corner. And he's pulled down by the safety, Rocky Schwartz, a sophomore from Bradenton, Florida. Whitehead, a 1,000-yard rusher last year, 1,144 yards. A chance to become the third back at Oregon to have back-to-back 1,000-yard rushing seasons. Maurice Morris and Ontario Smith are the others.
I thought I was going to get you. I thought maybe I found a little nugget in research that you didn't know on who the other two were. Can't get anything past you.
Third down and 6. Out of the shotgun throughout for Clemens with time. He throws for a first down to the 33-yard line. They pick the first down up by about 3 yards on an 11-yard gain. Mike Bellotti looking across the way at Art Briles, the head coach of the University of Houston in his third year. A wide receiver for Coach Bill Yeoman on some good Cougar teams in the mid and late 70s. Mike Bellotti in his 11th season as head coach at Oregon, coming off his first losing season at 5-6. They had been to 7 straight bowl games. Clemens with time again has another first down. Garen Strong, sophomore from Cupertino, California, inside the 20, and they'll spot him out at the 13-yard line. An 18-yard gain.
Look at all the time Clemens has to throw. He doesn't have to move his feet. The receiver strong in the flat. Linebackers have to drop back. In this new defense, you have to understand, if it's zone and there's nobody coming in the flat, you got to move back. That time Wade Cole didn't drop back and really take away the out ball. That's just recognition, not being aware of what you're trying to do all the time. Natural. It's not natural yet.
The handoff inside to Whitehead. He's down to the 9-yard line. Well, when they revamped this offense, they took a little bit of this and a little bit of that. Kellen Clemens says the terminology is new, but I like this offense because it gives me a lot of control to change plays, change pass routes at the line of scrimmage. And Craig, we'll see pieces that resemble Texas Tech, Utah, and Urban Meyer, Bowling Green. Those are the teams they particularly studied and really borrowed and stole from to put this hybrid offense together. They go to the backup quarterback, Dennis Dixon. There was great speed. And he was knocked down short of the first down. Sophomore from San Leandro, California, runs a 4.5 fastest 40 time in the history of the Oregon program. He broke Achilles Smith's mark in that area.
There's a little bit of that moving around. You know, you mentioned all those schools that they've been studying. Eventually, they want this to be considered the Oregon offense. They don't know what that is yet. And even Kellen Clemens has said defenses have no idea what we're going to do. And quite honestly, sometimes we don't know what we're going to do.
Point production down in recent years. Problems with the offensive line. They hope this new attack will make it easier to block. Clemens on 3rd down and 3. Lost one to the back of the end zone. Incomplete. He was looking for the talented tight end Tim Day. Rashawn Pope had the coverage. And the field goal unit comes on. And both teams have question marks with their kickers. Mike Bellotti has Paul Martinez, a junior from Danville, California, about to try his first ever field goal in collegiate competition. He was a field goal kicker in high school, but was a punter at the beginning of his Oregon career. Their starting punter 2 years ago. He lost that job last year. Now he's the place kicker, and he'll try a 22-yard field goal from a tough angle with Brady Leaf holding. He is the younger brother of Ryan Leaf, the former Washington State quarterback. And the kick up and good for Paul Martinez. So Oregon takes advantage of the Houston punt problem. And Mike Bellotti's Ducks lead 3-0.
ESPN2's College Football Primetime, brought to you by State Farm. Find out why more drivers on the road choose State Farm. Call your neighborhood State Farm agent. And Toyota. Choose any direction as long as it's forward. Toyota, moving forward.
And we're back in Houston, where the temperature approached 100 degrees today. We had lunch yesterday with Art Briles, the Houston coach. He was complaining it wasn't hot and humid enough. He said the humidity's gone down a little bit. It was, of course, 98 degrees as we were leaving the restaurant, but he wanted a home field advantage brought on by the heat and humidity that the Cougars are used to practicing with.
You know, it just depends where you're from if you think it's hot. I thought it was a nice, pleasant afternoon today.
It isn't really that humid. Paul Martinez to kick off. They had a little bluff there, faking an onside kick and then falling back. And a kickoff down to Ricky Wilson. He can fly. Ricky Wilson in the open field. At the Oregon 30. And finally taken out of bounds at the 17-yard line. A 74-yard return for Ricky Wilson. And Houston is in business.
Ricky Wilson's a former defensive back that has been put at wide receiver this season because of his speed. The young man can fly. He's an outstanding kick returner, and you see it here. Nice job of blocking, and all that razzle-dazzle of the fake onside kick, and that Oregon's team forgot to go down and keep their lane assignments. A big break by that Cougar offense right now for them after Oregon put in the 3 points.
Wilson sat out all of last year due to academics, and they missed him. They were 68th in the country in kickoff returns at only 19 yards per return. Oregon was offside on the kickoff. They're going to add 5 to the end of the return, move the ball to the 12-yard line.
They weren't offside enough, were they?
No. Spent too much time worrying about the trickeration, not enough about covering the kickoff. Mike Bellotti said we went from perhaps the best special teams team in the Pac-10 to about 7th or 8th best last year. He revamped the coaching assignments on his staff. All the assistants involved in special teams. He won't like that start to the season. Anthony Evans chopped down for no gain.
See how Houston spreads you out. I mean, they too have this offense that Art Briles is extremely creative, and he looks and he feels what the defense is doing. And for Oregon, they have to really keep their eyes open. They've got to see the game today more than they usually do.
Briles, the head coach, doubles as the offensive coordinator. He calls the plays. Cobb after the fake, has the receiver open in the flat. And it's Kendall Briles, the son of the head coach, who's been hampered severely by shoulder injuries throughout his high school and college career. That's a gain of 6 to the 6-yard line. That'll be 3rd down at about 4 for the Cougars.
You saw the run before. The previous play, they ran the football, not a lot of success. The play action, the linebackers came to the inside, and the quick decision to get rid of the football. Be ready to let the ball go. Most quarterbacks hold it another step or two, and they're late getting it to the flat and Briles.
Cobb hands it off to Anthony Evans. Good cutback. He lunges for the end zone. Touchdown. Six-yard touchdown run for number 6, the first touchdown of this college football season.
5'10", 225 pounds, but you have to respect his ability for the cutback. You'd think a bowling ball straight ahead. Good vision and a good setup for his offensive lineman up front.
Evans missed 4 games last year when he tore his left calf. That was right after a 282-yard game against Army. He's back fully healthy. He said, "I'd like to run between the tackles," and he demonstrated that skill there. They take advantage of the great kickoff return by Wilson. Here's Ben Bell, a true freshman with his first try in college. It didn't look very pretty, but it got up and through. He is a walk-on. Coach Briles told us yesterday he had never heard of Ben Bell until the beginning of August when they started their fall workouts, and Bell walked on.
That's not a good deal when the coach doesn't really know who you are. And then first game against Oregon out of the Pac-10, you have him lined up for an extra point, and he throws a big old curveball, but at least it went through.
Evans capping a 3-play, 12-yard drive after the kickoff return and penalty. Anthony's from Pearland, Texas, about 15 miles away from the University of Houston. He thought he was going to Oklahoma, but decided the last minute. He's a city guy. He said, I didn't want to go up to that little speck of a town, Norman, Oklahoma. We asked him, do you have any regrets given what's happened in Oklahoma in recent years with all the success? He said, no, I've made so many great friends, the greatest friends you could hope to have, friends I'll have the rest of my life. I've loved every minute of the experience here.
Well, and the offense that he's playing in, if you're an offensive-minded guy, you have to enjoy playing here for Art Briles. They throw the ball wide, they throw it down the middle of the field, they can run the football, they're creative in how they get to there, and they have opportunities in the open to make plays if you're a skilled player.
Garrett Lefevre, another true freshman, will kick off for Houston. He is on scholarship. They knew about him, but he's had a groin injury that has hampered him a bit. That might be why they scribbed it. It is caught on the run. Sherrod Davis brought the ball out to the 35-yard line. An 18-yard return for Oregon. ESPN Game Plan is available on TV and online. To order, call your pay-per-view provider or go to ESPN.com, keyword Game Plan. The ESPN Game Plan features 15+ college football games each week. So if you can't find the big game you want this Saturday, there's a good chance it's on ESPN Game Plan. Don't miss the games you really want to see, either on TV or online.
How about that Notre Dame Pitt game Saturday night? That's a fireball for Dave Wanstead and Charlie Weiss right out of the box.
A couple of guys who made the move from pro football back to college. Kellen Clemens with nobody open, runs and then took a shot in the back as he went down at the 37-yard line. Rodney Rito gave him a pretty good hit right in the back.
That's a good example there of a new offense and not really being sure. Wide receivers not being crisp, timing off, not knowing who to go to. Nobody really opened up, and it didn't look like the receivers were 100% into their routes. A little guessing maybe.
41 sacks allowed by the Ducks last year. Coach Bellotti said a combination of a lot of things. The line play wasn't very good. The blocking schemes weren't good. Sometimes the quarterback held the ball too long. A lot of times receivers weren't open. It was a total team effort. Whitehead for very little, out to the 39. Dave Lane in the middle of that defensive unit. He's played end-to-end tackle, so he said the 3-4 is no big adjustment for him. He's used to doing both. He's at end right now, trying to create some problems for that beleaguered Oregon offensive line. Third down and 5. The Ducks down 7-3. Out of the gun again. Clemens going deep. They didn't complete many deep downfield last year. They do here. Caught by Demetrius Williams for a first down deep into Houston territory. They'll spot him out of the 22-yard line. 34 yards on the gain for Oregon.
Well, you see the speed. The corner is squat and the safety gets beat deep. Never get beat deeper than the guy down there. And exactly what happened there was Schwartz, the safety, kind of watched the ball. You know, he just got caught by speed and the arm of Clemens.
Everything came together there for Oregon. Good protection, the good throw, and the catch by Williams. He was open. Whitehead reverses his field and gets 2 to the 20. Whitehead wasn't so sure about the change in the offense, but as the preseason went along, he said it started to grow on me.
Well, this will grow on you too. Watch out, Clemens on the outside. Once Whitehead jumps back out there, he starts to try to block and did pretty much nothing. You know, why didn't you follow me around the corner? Come on, T-Dub.
A lot of weapons for Oregon. Most of their key skilled people back. More depth at wide receiver than Clemens had last year, with the addition of James Finley. Mentioned he has the flexibility to do a lot more changing at the line. I believe his offensive line moved. Randy Smith is the referee. It's a Conference USA officiating crew. That is the conference in which Houston plays.
Ball start on the offense. The 75. 5-yard penalty. Still second down.
Jeff Schwartz is the right tackle. Appeared in 4 games last year as a true freshman, but getting thrown in battle in earnest for the first time this year by Coach Bellotti.
They're doing a good job up front right now, and the real weakness in this game for the Houston Cougars is a lack of pass rush up the middle. They're not getting or putting any pressure in the middle of the field on Kellen Clemens. They've got to do something different, changing up their look coming up the middle.
They went to this 3-4 to get more speed on the field, as it helps match up better when teams spread you out, and that is certainly what Oregon is doing here in the first quarter. Inside handoff, and again, very little doing for Whitehead as he went back to the 24-yard line. Wade Cole, the linebacker, in on the stop.
And Oregon's offensive line, kind of a question mark for them, as you mentioned. It's one of those where they're learning. You heard the audible to check at the line of scrimmage the previous play. So the wheels are turning upstairs. And, you know, when you get big guys' wheels turning, something's easy to fall off the track.
Just 13 yards rushing for Whitehead on 5 carries. 3rd down and 11. Oregon trailing 7-3 at the Houston 23-yard line. 4 wide receivers, 3 to the left of Kellen Clemens. He throws quickly under duress, threw it short, and the tackle made immediately by Rocky Schwartz, the safety. That pass was completed to Dennis Dixon, the backup quarterback, with that great speed we spoke of earlier. He lined up in that bunch of 3 wide receivers to the left.
Well, Schwartz makes up for getting beat deep earlier, but you see the linebackers come from the Cougars. They forced the early quick throw on 3rd and long underneath. Safety was up tight to make the play quick on it.
That was actually James Finley, 18, not number 10, Dixon, who made the catch. 4th down, and Martinez is going to try another field goal. This will be a 39-yard attempt, again from the hash mark. He is already connected from 22, and that one is good. So Paul Martinez's career at Oregon as a place kicker off to an excellent start. 7-6 Houston. Under 4 minutes to go in the first quarter.
3:46 to go, first quarter. Houston has a 1-point lead on Oregon out of the Pac-10. Well, as we talked about at the top of the broadcast, the Houston Astrodome is right next door to us here at Reliant Stadium. It is where thousands of refugees from Hurricane Katrina are situated right now, in for the long haul. The massive evacuation started yesterday for the Louisiana Superdome here. The buses rolled in at about 11 o'clock last night and continued all the way through this afternoon. In fact, I'm just told some 10 to 15 more buses will be arriving with more than 2,000 people. It's really an incredible scene inside. There are Post-its listed on the floor of the Astrodome in alphabetical order for people trying to find family members. Most are just happy to have a hot shower, some good food, and soap and toothpaste as well. Really quite a scary scene, guys, without question. Most folks believe their homes are destroyed and are still in search of many family members. They're very happy that it'll leave the Superdome in New Orleans, where it was very dangerous. A lot of crime that they saw. An incredible scene next door at the Astrodome, Sean.
A horrific tragedy that has captivated our entire country. And fortunately for those who have made the trip to Houston, their conditions will be much better in the coming days. Ricky Wilson, they didn't kick it to him that time. Rashawn Pope brought it back 18 yards out near the 30-yard line. Friends, victims of Hurricane Katrina need your help. As you know, the American Red Cross provides disaster victims with food, shelter, clothing, counseling, and more. Your support for the American Red Cross Disaster Relief Fund helps victims of Hurricane Katrina and thousands of other disasters across the country each year. To make a contribution, contact the American Red Cross today. Call 1-800-HELP-NOW or visit www.redcross.org. Cobb on first down. He's looking to go deep. Has a man open. It's going to be a touchdown for Houston. Donnie Avery, 70 yards.
And you talk about speed and touch and throwing the football down the field. Avery just took off and ran deep. The corner saw the little slant coming underneath and just squatted for just a moment. With Avery's speed, You've heard the Houston coaches and their team say how much speed they have and how excited they are to get into open space. There's an example right there. Art Browse is not afraid to throw the ball down the field, is he, Sean?
No,
I mean, he's going to come back and let it go.
Rear long reception for Avery, who caught 18 balls last year as a redshirt freshman. He beat the freshman Patrick Chung, the 18-year-old redshirt freshman in the secondary. Ben Bell adds the extra point. He's 2 for 2 in his collegiate debut. And Cobb has thrown another touchdown pass. He started the night needing 103 yards to become the 5th quarterback at the University of Houston to pass for more than 6,000 yards in his career. He is 76 yards passing so far tonight. And Art Briles said it when we visited with him yesterday. We have a lot of weapons on offense, a lot of speed, and he singled out Avery as one of those with great speed. And we're seeing that already. They have a lot of options with which to work for Kevin Cobb.
And you know what I like about this offense is they had the underneath covered and mastered middle routes with Kendall Briles. You have to pay attention to Kendall Briles because he's a dependable, good athlete on the football field, which opens it up for players like Avery on the outside and the big bombs.
So Garrett Lefevre will kick off.
Hey, you know what? Oregon, many people consider to be one of the teams in the country that's capable of beating or upsetting USC. I wouldn't say that happened right now watching so far, would you?
No. Picked to finish 4th in the Pac-10 in the preseason poll. The Ducks behind USC, obviously everybody's favorite. Cal, the number 2 choice, then Arizona State. Houston picked 2nd in the Conference USA West Division behind UTEP. Andy L. Brown, the kickoff return. Might have been a late hit out of bounds. There was some bumping along the near sideline. There are a couple of flags down.
An illegal block in the back. 22 on the receiving team. 10-yard penalty and the first down.
Well, Mike Bellotti wanted an explanation. He says, wait a minute, what about this hit way out of bounds over here?
And he's also going to want an explanation from the rest of his coaching staff reviewing this film tomorrow as to why his special teams is starting out poorly, making mistakes, not good coverage on a kickoff earlier in the ball game. Gave Houston a big return, making a mistake there when they have good field position. His entire staff worked together to focus on a weakness from last year, the special teams. And for them to come out and start slow like this is inexcusable.
Outside first 2.
4 for 7 for Clemens. They started 25 games in a row now for Oregon. They're rather mediocre, 13 and 11 in the previous 24. Low snap, but Clemens handled well. He's going deep again, and it is broken up this time. Intended for Demetrius Williams, and Ricky Wilson knocked it down.
Demetrius Williams has made one big play and almost comes up with another one here, if not for an outstanding play by the defensive back. This is showing you that Kellen Clemens is going to throw the football down the field. Last year, they had one pass play at Oregon of 59 yards. That was their longest play, and I think it was a broken down play. So they've got to stretch it. They have to throw the ball down the field.
2nd and 10. Clemens, and a good catch made out there by Demetrius Williams. That ball thrown a little bit behind him. He appears to have the first down out near the 39-yard line.
That sure was a nice throw. He had to let this ball go just a little bit early. Little push finally coming, but Clemens still stands in the pocket. I mean, they're Houston. They're undersized on the defensive line compared to Oregon's. Those are some big hefty fellows over there. So they're not going to run over them.
Well, that line, which was a question mark, doing a pretty good job so far. They haven't been able to establish a running game. The quick throw dropped by Garen Strong. Clemens under a little bit of pressure again. Had to throw that quickly.
But that's a drop big play right there. And in the offseason, Oregon coaches and Kellen Clemens worked on consistency, right? And they had some drills that they worked on to become more consistent. So you would look and think, well, Clemens later on down the line didn't have one pass completion. Maybe that's 15 yards right there if that guy catches it.
Mike Bellotti said, Kellen's been a very good quarterback. We think he can be great. He needs to be more consistent. And Kellen himself said he needs to be more consistently accurate. Wade Cole looked like he was going to get Clemens. It also looked like he was being held. Then after Clemens threw the ball, a flag was thrown, perhaps for a late hit. But boy, did it look like Wade Cole was being held as he was within a couple of feet of the passer.
15-yard penalty, automatic first down.
Yeah, that's a blow to the head. You know, the defender attacks the head. Clements on the outside avoids Wade Cole. Gets to the outside.
Oh, boy.
And, you know, I don't know. I mean, you know, he put the shoulder to the middle of his chest. That's one of those questionable calls. Pope came in there and just put the wood on him. I'd like to see it again. If you know, is it a helmet to helmet? I don't think it was helmet to helmet.
It was a rude papal blessing, that's for sure.
I mean, he goes in with the right side of the shoulder. He did not lead with the head.
Although you could see how it might look that way depending on where the official was.
In full speed down there.
Yep.
Yes.
The ball to the 46 of Houston. Under 3 minutes to go first quarter. 14-6 Cougars. Clemens with time and an accurate throw. Demetrius Williams trying to break away. Could not from Courtney Sterling. The senior from Dallas made the tackle. A 12-yard gain, and Oregon looks crisp on this possession.
Look at that offensive line. Watch how they bunch up the Cougars' defensive line. That's pass protection, isn't it? I think you can stand back there and find a guy. Well, maybe not.
I think I could.
You could find him. You think you could get it to him?
No. 4 catches for Williams for 72 yards. Coaches gave him a lot of credit for gutting his way through an injury-plagued season a year ago. Little shovel pass into Garen Strong, and he stacked up immediately. Cade Lane, the veteran, in the middle of that defense, making his 37th straight start. He's from right here on the northwest side of Houston. Yeah, he's played in every game of his U of H career. He said, I came here because nobody else wanted me, and he's turned into an excellent player.
And last season, I had a chance to call the Houston at Southern Miss game. This defense is playing better right now than it did last year, for sure. You see guys with a lot more lane responsibility, more discipline, more speed.
Out of the gun on 2nd and long. Man wide open. First down. Dante Rosario, who's been the fullback in the past, now a tight end H-back in this new look offense. A 14-yard gain. He's been a good receiver out of the fullback slot. They'll capitalize on those skills as a tight end.
Rosario is just a good athlete, as they call him. Matter of fact, I think even in high school, maybe he played some quarterback or linebacker is what it was. So he comes in here and they can put him around and use an athlete with size and speed to make plays.
Back under center this time for Clemens. One of the few snaps today, and a powerful run by Whitehead. Terrence, a tough physical runner out of Crenshaw High School in Los Angeles. Now a senior at Oregon. He was their team MVP last year, and not the most blazing speed, but very productive.
Well, just as soon as I start talking kindly about the Cougars defense, they fall apart. Oregon thumps them a couple of plays in a row, but Whitehead does have good vision. He plays under control. He plays fast under control.
After the gain of 12, 1st and goal, Oregon just outside the 8. Touchdown and 2-pointer could get them even. Clemens keeps. We mentioned he spent time in Portland this summer working in a football camp on repetitive accuracy, he said, also on increasing his speed. He knew he was going to run a lot more in the spread offense, and he wanted to drop a couple of pounds, be a bit more agile, and he looks to be.
But you don't want to get carried away with it. With Whitehead in the backfield, they've got several kids back there. They can pound the football on people, especially as big as your offensive line is. You know, 3 or 4 touches runs a game by your quarterback. I understand that.
One of the top running back recruits in the country, a true freshman, Jonathan Stewart, who we may see tonight. Play action pass, touchdown. Nicely done, and what a great start here in the first quarter for Demetrius Williams. 5 catches for Williams now for 78 yards and a touchdown. And it looks like they'll go for 2 to try to get even right here.
You notice how quickly Clements gets around, buys a little bit of a time, but he gets the ball immediately out to Williams. He didn't delay it. Play was open, over aggressive play by the Cougars defense. They lost the discipline the last 3 plays that I'd been talking about.
Now, new look offense looked pretty good here. What's your philosophy about going for the tie right here? A lot of coaches say
just add
the rest
points
of the game to get the point. If you don't get the 2 points now you chase around that 1 point that you passed on the rest of the night.
Well, let me watch this play first. I'll tell you. Go
Great
for
decision.
it.
Absolutely the right thing to do. Darren Strong wasn't particularly graceful. He was wide open. It might be because he injured himself. Looked like he was grabbing at the back of his right leg as he went to the ground. He did an awkward little hop around the end zone after he caught that pass with nobody around him. The 2-point conversion is good, but they might have lost Strong, who plays in a lot of their extra wide receiver packages. He's been bothered in the preseason by a sprained ankle.
You see Paula come from the outside, and there wasn't a safety to come over and compensate for that. If you're going to leave your area and a man that you look like you're matched up on, somebody better come from behind you to cover him.
Strong caught 12 passes last year as a redshirt freshman. Slowed in the preseason by an ankle. You wonder if he tweaked that. Although this time it looks like they're looking at his upper leg.
Like his groin. You know,
Yeah.
he's like he's maybe messed his groin up when he turned around.
In this part of the country, a groin.
He messed his groin up.
Coach Briles was telling us yesterday about his freshman kickers had a pulled groin from just about the first day of practice here, Lefevre.
Well, it's just mispronounced. Depends on what part of the country you're from. Down here, I understand it.
And they run up and then reset. Paul Martinez to kick off. Here they try to kick it away from Ricky Wilson. Yes, they do. High and short to the near side of the field. And returned by John McGilvery, a backup tight end, 7 yards to the 32-yard line. There is a flag on the kickoff.
Number 22 on the kicking team. 5-yard penalty. First down.
They were flying out of formation on the kickoff. Saturday night, 2-time national champions and winners of 22 straight. USC, the Trojans, open their title defense, looking to be the first team in modern history to win 3 national championships in a row. And what talent. Matt Leinart, Reggie Bush, Wayne Jarrett, and Coach Pete Carroll begin the season against Hawaii, with Jerry Glanville trying to lead the defense for the Rainbows. College football Saturday primetime back on campus, presented by State Farm on ESPN2 Saturday at 7 Eastern Time. Just winning 2 in a row has been tough enough since 1970. You like their chances? You have to like their chances.
You know what? Anybody who says they don't like their chances really is throwing mud against the wall. What you try to do is figure out some credible explanation as to why they might lose or where they could lose. I like their chances. Yes, I do. Matt Leinart, even though they've lost to Tupu and Grudegood on defense and coaches, they lost a lot on defense. Patterson up front, Cody up front, but they still have Matt Leinart and Reggie Bush. And to win a national championship, you got to have a productive quarterback, and they've got the guy.
Well, Mike Bellotti said USC's great. They're certainly the team to beat in our league and in the country. But he noted when we spoke with him the other day, they had several close games. You could say 4 close games in conference last year. They're not invincible.
And playing at Oregon in a few weeks is one of those that you circle and say, okay, if Oregon's offense can come together and start clicking and have a drive like they just did consistently.
Well, really a change in the balance of power. It looked like Oregon was about to grab the mantle as the premier team in the Pac-10, and for a while it did. But 14-17 now in the last 31 games for Oregon. It wasn't just that 5-6 year last year, but it goes back to the end of 3 seasons ago, where the slip toward mediocrity began.
So Mike Bellotti didn't just have a knee-jerk reaction and want to come in and change offensive coordinators or bring in a Gary Croton and change the offense up. He's felt it.
Yeah, that's what he said. We've been dipping for a while. He felt particularly in the blocking schemes that they weren't as efficient in pass protection anymore. They needed to change their offense. Point production down. 1-loss record down. After Wilson's return, 1st and 10, Cobb throws into double coverage and out of bounds. Looking for Anthony Allridge. Down to 20 seconds left in the first quarter. An entertaining first quarter. Art Briles said, I just want our team to get off to a good start, create some momentum, and be calm no matter what happens. If we get behind, deal with it. If we get ahead, deal with that well.
It's good advice. And you know, that's the kind of advice that comes from a recent high school coach. He understands mentally these guys are still young and there are emotional swings they have to deal with.
Little swing pass in the flat. And a quality gain. It looked like that play might get blown up behind the line of scrimmage, but instead it was Vincent Marshall, the speedy, diminutive wide receiver at 5'7", 170 pounds, who picked up 12 and a first down.
And you don't think he's that big, do you?
No, we asked him yesterday. They listed him at 5'9". He walked into the meeting room. He said, Vincent, how about your size? 5'7", 170. I believed him.
He's small, but that play happened because Kevin Cobb got rid of the ball extremely quickly and very firmly to the outside. Is that proper English? Very firmly to the outside?
It is.
Okay.
When you say it. High snap for Cobb. Running for his life. Gets it off. Incomplete. Just happy to get rid of it.
I mean, you know, you've got that family member that went to Harvard, so, you know, I always can check in with you for my grammar.
Yes.
This is a nice play here. Houston's avoided 2 bad snaps, one on a punt tonight, and that play right there to avoid a real negative. Why didn't you never considered Harvard? You just, you know.
They never really considered me.
Was that it? Okay.
That was more of the problem.
They did, but you would have livened up the place, that's for sure.
They had a little sticky issue called academic standards.
You mean SAT qualifications?
Yes.
We could have combined yours and mine.
We still wouldn't get in. Pass through the hands of Kendall Briles. It'll be 3rd down and 10. He's had a lot of shoulder injuries. It makes certain passes very difficult for him to catch. And that one a little bit too high and hot from one of his best pals. Kevin Cobb. We'll tell you the story. They have a fascinating history together. Kevin Cobb and Kendall Briles and Coach Art Briles, but it takes a little time, and there's only 4 seconds left in the quarter. How's that for our first really solid tease of the season?
Yes, I love it. It's going to time spent viewing. I'm going to stick with you.
There you go.
I'm coming back, 2nd quarter.
Oops. Little false start on the entire left side of the line there.
False start, 71 on the offense, 5-yard penalty, still 3rd down.
Roy Swan, Sir Vincent Rogers backing up. That's Swan backpedaling from the Ducks.
He's trying to get a quick jump out of there because that Haloti he'll give you a knot on your head if you're not ready for him when he comes. Big 96 on that Oregon defensive line. Some say maybe the best defensive lineman they've ever seen out there.
Well, Art Briles said he's the best defensive lineman we've faced since I've been the head coach here. Now, consider in the last few years they played Miami and Oklahoma last year, Michigan a couple of years ago. Yeah, Mike Belotti's been coaching a long time. Says Nada is as great a football player as I've ever seen at this level, and he's not prone to hyperbole. 3rd down and long. They're going long and longer for Allridge. Touchdown, Houston. 62 yards to Anthony Allridge, the speed burner from Denton, Texas.
Mike Belotti's asking the question right now, how in the heck can they on 3rd and long like that just run right by us? This is a beautiful pass, a great touch, deep ball, but Aldridge just keeps running. He didn't put his hands out and try to go. He sprinted to the football, and Oregon's secondary just got burned. They did not respect the arm strength and the touch of Kevin Cobb.
Number 22 there was Chris Vincent, the converted running back who's made the move to defense this year, and Justin Finnessy, 31, also trying to catch up to Allridge. They were without Allridge much of last year, and he gives them another dimension of speed. He can fly. He was out for academics last year. That was a big reason why they were 3-8, a number of players dealing with academic issues. touchdowns and a wide open first quarter thrown by Kevin Cobb here in steamy Houston. The action hot after one. Back in Houston, so many emotions in the city, with the Astrodome right next door where evacuees are being housed, and the start of a college football season. In a wide open first quarter, Houston leads Oregon 21-14. Big plays on both sides here in one of the biggest cities in America. Houston with a 74-yard kickoff return to set up a short touchdown, and then touchdown passes of 70 and 62 yards. Ben Bell will kick off. He's handled the PATs but not the kickoffs heretofore. Lefevre's groin might still be bothering him. Bell does not have the big leg. It's a short kickoff down to Sherrod Davis, weaving nicely through the traffic and out to the 40-yard line. Here's Dave Ryan.
All right, Sean, bad news for Oregon now. Their wide receiver, Garen Strong, trainers tell us he'll be reevaluated at the half, but is out for the rest of this first half with a pulled left groin. They're icing it for now. One player they do have healthy after a great start to last season is Demetrius Williams. He was so super on that last drive for the Ducks. He had turf toe last year, an injury he sustained in last year's preseason camp, and says there were times he couldn't make a sharp cut on his pass route, couldn't plant, couldn't stop on his injured right toe. Late in the year, he only played 5 snaps over 3 games, and he really hoped to regain that form, which made him so good a couple years ago. Had almost 1,000 yards. He said, hey, I feel like I'm in high school again. I feel so healthy. I'll need him today.
First and 10 Ducks. Clemens under center again for one of the few times tonight. And a short gain on the inside handoff.
Kevin Cobb has more yards than Clemens, and he's only 4 of 8 up here. I mean that's a big number, isn't it? I think that average is strong on 4 completions.
Terrell Jackson in it, running back. He's been Whitehead's backup in the preseason. Now a quick pass by Clemens out in the flat to James Finley. Todd Cox made the tackle. Gain out to the 46. We're at Reliant Stadium, the home of the Houston Texans of the NFL. They're in Tampa tonight in preseason action, letting the Houston Cougars use their beautiful new home. Cougars have been playing a game or so a year in here in recent years. 3rd down and short. Clemens throws short, and with the lunge they get the first down. Demetrius Williams has it just across midfield. Here's Matt Weiner.
All right, John, thanks very much. Vanderbilt on the road at Wake Forest. Little SEC, ACC action. Jay Cutler gets right to it. Marlon White makes the nice adjustment. 19-yard touchdown. Vandy on top in the second 10.
And here in Houston, wide open start, minute and a half into the second quarter, a 7-point lead for the Cougars. Clemens in tight to the line to change the play. He'll go under center with 4 wide receivers. Switches to the option and pitches it back to Jackson. And a nice audible, as that's a quality gain on first down. He got about 7 down to the Houston 43. Jackson slippery at running back, in the words of Gary Croton. He's a redshirt freshman.
Kind of wonder what Clemens is looking at. You have 3 over here, and you have 2, so he's going to run the option to this side of the field. That's what he checked out of. Felt like he maybe had an advantage with his blocking to the right side, and actually it's pretty poor defense there by number 3, Pahulu.
Back out of the gun on second down, a pump fake and then a deep throw. Williams is open. The ball was thrown short, and a flag thrown for pass interference against Ricky Wilson. Williams had him beat deep. If the throw was long enough, it was a touchdown, but the throw was well short. Williams had to come back, and as a result, he collided with Wilson.
So Ricky Wilson, a former defensive back, playing some wide receiver, out there playing a little defensive back right there, and got to turn and find the football.
Third penalty against Houston. And the walk-off will move the ball inside the 30-yard line. Gary Croton, former head coach at BYU, relieved of that duty after last season. But he's really enjoyed Eugene, his family. He has 7 children, enjoys the town. He likes Mike Bellotti and the staff, the players. And after all the stress of being a head coach, he said, I'm not happy just drawing up offense for a while. He said, maybe someday I'd be interested in being a head coach again, but not anytime soon. At the 27, Clemens, the late option pitch. Clemens got flattened, and it's Cameron Colden, the wide receiver, who took the pitch, who was stopped for a loss. Rocky Schwartz is at an active half up from his safety spot. Dropped the play back at the 28-yard line. A loss of 1, and boy, did Clemens get walloped.
Oh, he sure did. And, you know, I know the option is something they're really trying to put in, and moving receivers around, coming as pitchbacks. But you don't want Kellen Clemens to get hit too often. You know, that's your arm. That's your guy.
And the pass batted down. Marquay Love, the nose tackle, junior from Fort Worth, batted it down. Once again, here's Matt Weiner.
Sean, they are already crazy in Columbia for Steve Spurrier. Packed house for the Spurrier debut, and South Carolina gets right to it. Sophomore quarterback Blake Mitchell meet the fun and gun. Noah Whiteside on the other end of the 49-yard hookup. Gamecocks up 7-0 after their first drive.
And a rough way to start for Central Florida under George O'Leary, winless last year in his first year as head coach. Third down and 11. Oregon on the move, down by a touchdown here early in the second quarter. 4 wide receivers, 3 to the right of Kellen Clemens. The pitch. Demetrius Williams has blockers. Beautiful call. Flag thrown right at the feet of a blocker downfield. Chris Pilot made the tackle that might have saved a touchdown. It looks like it might be a blocking foul against the Ducks, and no reason for it because he didn't need the block.
Holding 61 on the offense. 10-yard penalty from the spot of foul.
Where that flag was thrown.
Yeah, it looked, I mean, the motion of that Cougar defense, the aggressiveness of it, and Demetrius Williams, obviously Gary Croton likes his ability, doesn't he, Sean? I mean, he's going to try to get the ball in number 6's hands. And the Cougars defense, yeah, you know, you have to be aggressive, but you have to play a little bit of controlled aggression out there too.
When we asked Gary Croton about Demetrius Williams, said he's fast, tall, he can jump, great vertical leap, runs excellent routes. What's not to like? Ball back at the 34. Very costly penalty against Oregon. 3rd and 17. Timeout called. Looked like Clemens was trying to figure out whether the Cougars were going to blitz or if they were just bluffing. First timeout burned by either side. We'll be back in Houston right after this. Sparse but spirited crowd inside Reliant Stadium. Houston, a commuter school. Very hard to foster a campus atmosphere, but those hardy students are trying to do that here tonight. 3rd down, 17 for Oregon. At the Houston 34, the Ducks down by a touchdown. Let's see what they have out of the timeout. 3 wide receivers. Whitehead stayed in a block. Clemens got belted, and it is almost intercepted by Rocky Schwartz. Chris Pilot right in the face of Clemens. That forced a short throw, and Rocky Schwartz almost intercepted it.
And Schwartz has to come up and make this play. He's got a nice free shot at a ball that's thrown up. But, man, Clemens, talking about drilled. Wow, he's taking some hits in this game, Sean. I mean, he's taking a lot of hits.
You do expose the quarterback a bit more in this wide open spread offense. Really don't have a name for the offense yet. He said Mike Bellotti hopes to become known as the Oregon offense. 51-yard try for Martinez, and that one is good with room to spare. Well, they had any concerns about the place kicking, forget about it now. He's 3 for 3.
So what does the missed interception mean to your team?
3 points. Did I hit my buzzer? Did I answer too quickly?
I wanted to make sure I was with you.
I'm with you, buddy. I'm with you.
I had
3
a final
points.
answer with you.
Or was it a trick question? That would have been a tough catch, though. He's running full speed. He's leaping. And that's why he's a DB. Usually they don't have very good hands.
Well, work on that. Stay after practice. Get your little jugs machine going.
I bet he probably has. So important for this Oregon team, Craig, to open the season well. We talked about 5-6 last year, miss a bowl game for the first time in 7 years. First losing season since '93. So many disappointments along the way. But when you start with a home loss to Indiana, that can really set the tone for the entire year.
And what you did last year. And so here they are. And let me tell you what's misleading about this is the fact that you've got a team in Houston that is not nationally expected to be a big powerhouse team. Now, football people recognize that Kevin Cobb can throw the ball. So this is a real dangerous, tough place for Oregon to have to come on the road, Pete, you mentioned, and have to win a game.
Although it was pointed out to us by Dave Williford, the fine sports information director at Oregon, that they've had some unusually hot weather up in Eugene lately, several days over 90 degrees to help them prepare for this. Rashawn Pope runs back the kickoff out across the 25, a 22-yard return. But a big play attack engineered by Kevin Cobb. When we spoke with Nick Allione, the defensive coordinator for Oregon, he said in more than 30 years of coaching, this is about the most difficult offense he had prepared for. He said they're unique. They do a little bit of this, a little bit of that. We asked Art Briles, how would you characterize your offense? He said, well, I really couldn't. We're multiple system run and pass with a lot of shifts and formations. That's what I'd call it.
And so you have the whole summer to worry about that as a defensive coordinator.
And they might add me. They have all summer to add
That's
to
right.
their already crazy mixture here. Cobb dumps it off short for Ryan Gilbert. Another of the very speedy weapons at the disposal of Cobb. He's a transfer from LSU.
Hey, let me give you a little example, just a little thing. You're expecting a fake, right? Just a little fake to ball movement to Anthony Evans, but he didn't do it. Cobb immediately throws the ball to the flat. So just for that hair split second there, the corner's looking, expecting for a little bit of a fake, and he doesn't do the play action. He just rears up and throws the ball. Those kind of tweaks will drive a defense crazy.
Flag down before the snap.
Ball start. 74 on the offense. 5-yard penalty. Still second down.
Sir Vincent Rogers. Yeah, we were talking earlier, Craig, about the connections between Kevin Cobb and Art Briles. Art Briles for many years was the head football coach at Stephenville High School, about an hour out of Fort Worth. When Kevin Cobb was a 9th grader, Art Briles hired Kevin Cobb's dad, Roy, to be an assistant coach. Quick pass. And a good hit by Justin Finnessy out in the corner. And some tempers flaring, but they'll be quickly separated. Kendall Briles, Art Briles' son, was the quarterback for his dad at Stephenville, where Art won 4 state championships. In one 6-year span, they were 90-2. And when Kevin Cobb got there, he said, I figured I was going to be a tight end. Kendall Briles a couple of years ahead of me. He's the coach's son. They're winning state championships. Well, then Art Briles leaves right when Kendall was about to be a senior to go to Texas Tech. He takes his son with him. He goes to a different high school. All of a sudden, Kevin Cobb is the quarterback at Stephenville, and he had great success there. Art Briles, when he got to Texas Tech, tried to recruit Kevin Cobb to go there to be a quarterback. Instead, he was going to go to Oklahoma State. Then Art Briles got the job here at Houston. Kevin Cobb decided, I'll go play for Coach Briles if he's the head coach at Houston. Then he got here, and Kendall Briles transferred back from Texas to Houston to play for his dad. So he figures, here I go to Houston to play for Coach Briles, and his son comes back. Now I'm going to be behind him again. But Kendall Briles hurt his shoulder. Cobb got a chance to play. He's been the quarterback ever since. Now Briles is the receiver.
Sounds like the makings of a movie.
That was
well done.
You
did a heck of a job. Hey, I got popcorn while you were giving it.
There you go. I'm sorry. That was about as quick as I could do it.
You did. Good well.
Laird's punt. Returned by Justin Finnessy. 42-yard punt, a 12-yard return.
Just under 10 minutes left first half, and Houston a 4-point lead on Oregon. We're joined by Houston Athletic Director Dave Maggard. Dave, how has your university helped out in the cause for the relief of the hurricane victims?
Well, we've had a great cooperative effort between Reliant and University of Houston. You know, we have a lot of folks who have come up from Louisiana, Mississippi, and Alabama. We provided free tickets for them there this evening. We thought that maybe to get away and have a little bit of entertainment, we thought that might be a good break for them. We also have people out around the stadium who are collecting money, American Red Cross for the refugee effort. So it's been a great effort, and we're happy to do it.
Dave, how will this game against a big-time opponent like Oregon of the Pac-10 help your program develop?
Well, in order for us to rebuild our program and get back to a national stature, we have to play teams like University of Oregon. University of Oregon is really a very, very strong team. They've had a great record over the last 10, 15 years, so we're happy to have them here. Tremendous team, but we believe we can play with this team.
Sean, there's Houston Athletic Director Dave Maggard.
I think his team has proven that already tonight. After a big defensive play by Cody Lubajaski on first down, a swarming Houston defense drops James Finley at the 48-yard line. Craig, originally Dave Maggard thought they'd be hosting Nebraska here tonight. He believed they had an agreement with the Cornhuskers to open the season here at Reliant Stadium on the ESPN family of networks. And then a few months ago, he got a call that Nebraska would rather play the University of Maine. Apparently, after the rough season the Cornhuskers had last year, they didn't want to risk coming down here, losing to Houston, and having the folks up in Nebraska say, here we go again with this Bill Callahan team.
So Nebraska sitting at home right now saying, woo-hoo-hoo, man, am I glad we're not down there right now.
Watch out for the Maine Black Bears. Very good Division I AA program. Mississippi State found out last year. Clemens remarkably escapes, and then his pass is incomplete. Had Tim Day open, but he was trying to walk the tightrope along the sideline.
I'm not sure if we start this by saying Clemens is elusive or Houston smelling something on his jersey that they like. It's like bees after the honey. And Clemens somehow avoids the pressure and really had the play made. For the, and that Cougar defense, maybe they're getting a little bit better feel for what Gary Croton's trying to accomplish over there.
I think part of coaching is using the strengths of your players, and one of the reasons they went to this new offense is because Clemens is mobility, agility, and this really does seem to suit him very well. Matt Dragic gets a nice bounce and roll on that punt down to the 13-yard line, a 41-yard punt. Art Briles and the Cougars will have the ball and the lead when we come back to Reliant Stadium.
ESPN2's College Football Primetime, brought to you by Verizon Wireless. We never stop working for you. And Wrigley's Spearmint and Doublemint Gum, who remind you to enjoy yourself.
Welcome back to ESPN2's College Football Primetime. Sean McDonough, Craig James, Dave Ryan, our producer Aaron Owens, our director Ken Dennis, our terrific ESPN2 crew. Delighted to have you with us. All of us want to send our best wishes along to Mike Gottfried, our friend and colleague. He was originally assigned to this game, but Mike lives in Mobile, Alabama, and like so many along the Gulf Coast, dealing with the after effects of Hurricane Katrina. We hope Mike will be able to join us Saturday night in Georgia, but certainly our thoughts and prayers are with Mike and everybody else who's been overwhelmed by this enormous tragedy. Another big play. Houston averaging before that play more than 11 yards per play. They'll improve on that average on the long throw to Ulrich. He's out to the 49-yard line of the Oregon Ducks. Here's a guy who hasn't played in a game since 2002 when he was at Denton High School. Missed last year to focus on academics and redshirted back in 2003.
Did you see the 2 hop steps towards the middle of the football field? Sean, that's what pulled those safeties into the middle. They went to the post pattern, and then Cobb wisely throws it underneath. And that's discipline. That's a smart, experienced quarterback.
Little screen set up to Ryan Gilbert, and he was tripped up. Good defensive play by A.J. Tuatelli, who got Gilbert around the ankle, where Ryan had plenty of room to run.
Who? Tuatelli.
Tuatelli, sophomore from Wilmington, California. Part of that linebacker core that is the question mark of the defense. You know, the secondary was not a question, but they are tonight. Secretary might be a question. Maybe they don't have a good secretary. I don't know. I bet they do. Most of the secretaries we see in these football offices are pretty good.
Did you meet with somebody that I didn't maybe meet with?
I meant the secondary.
Oh.
Early season problems here in the booth as well. You know, you got to get the cobwebs up. And chasing fish and golf balls all summer. The run goes to the 41-yard line. They'll bring up 3rd down and short. Devin Long made the tackle.
You know, we talk about Gary Croton's offensive mind. Art Briles, how about his mind? What he's doing out here.
He calls the plays. It is a fun offense to watch. They go to the big back. Jackie Battle at more than 250 pounds, and he just runs over folks to get the first down. Back on campus, and Saturday night it's the 2-time national champs USC in action against Hawaii. College football Saturday prime time. Back on campus, presented by State Farm on ESPN2 Saturday at 7 Eastern.
Like you said, Jerry Glanville, old Falcons coach, Oilers. Now he's defensive coordinator at Hawaii.
They stick with Jackie Battle. That time he was stacked up in the middle of that defensive line. Battle missed much of last year. He had a torn tendon in a finger that required surgery. And when you keep hearing over and over again, Craig, all these key players who missed the season for academics, they were injured. Evans was injured, missed half the year. Battle missed half the year. You can understand why they went 3-8.
You know what just occurred to me? Sometimes the light bulb goes off. These big-time schools, they lose their guys after a year or two of big success. But you get a program like Houston, their players, they keep them around. They groom them. They become more accustomed to the offense and what they're trying to accomplish.
They flip it to Marshall. He's in trouble and dragged down behind the line of scrimmage. Nice play. Matt Toaina, the junior from American Samoa, managed to catch up to the speedy Marshall. Marshall came here on a track scholarship. Runs a 4.340. Toaina able to take him down. A rare loss for this Houston offense, averaging 11 yards per play. Last year they averaged 388 yards per game. That was down 70 yards per game from 2003 when they went to the Hawaii Bowl. And they averaged 21 points per game last year. That was 93rd in the nation and down 13.5 points per game from the prior year. Cobb on 3rd and long flips it away as he ran out of bounds. I think they're going to say he ran out of bounds before he threw the ball, and mark him back at the 40. That'll bring up 4th down. There are the numbers. The points way down. Rushing yards down by 1 per rush.
That bottom number down there, that is an oucher, isn't it?
These were 2 of the worst teams in the country last year protecting the quarterback. 41 sacks allowed by Oregon.
And that's one of those plays too that you'd like to try to pick up 10 yards or so to give yourself at least a chance for a field goal. You know, don't go for the first down necessarily.
Justin Laird hangs it very high in the air over the head of Finnessy, and too long. Into the end zone. It'll come out to the 20. A 41-yard punt, but a net of 21, and it's really the net.
That's it.
I want to dust off a few cliches here earlier in the year. It's kind of all about the net when you talk about punt coverage.
Hey, as long as you dust off that and don't talk about secretaries, we'll live with you on this second half. But being a single man, it's okay.
The guy really missed Mike Godfrey now.
If I start talking,
Mike was originally assigned to this game.
No, if I start talking about secretaries, we're in trouble. Well, I'm in trouble.
Well, you filled the void nicely. Just whisked in on your private jet today.
Oh yeah. Oh my buddies.
Clemens keeps and goes to the 26. Rashawn Pope tripped him up. Clemens from Burns, Oregon, about 4.5 hours east of Eugene. From a ranching family. He told us his family's been ranching in Burns for about 100 years. Right now, Black Angus on the ranch, about 170.
Good
That'll
time.
keep you busy.
Good time to be in the cattle business. A lot of people eating beef these days. Cattle prices are high.
When he's done playing football, I'd like to be a rancher and a high school coach. They drop him for a loss back at the 26. There's also a flag down for a holding call. Willie Gaston up from the corner to make the play. Art Briles will have a decision to make. If they turn it down, it'll be 3rd down and 4.
Holding, 44 on the offense. 10-yard penalty from the previous spot. Remains 2nd down.
They're going to take the penalty, and we throw it down to Dave Ryan.
Only did Kellen Clemens, Sean, grow up on a ranch in Oregon this past June. He was married. His life changed forever. He married Nicole Wheeler, a graduate of San Diego University, whom he met before his freshman year at Oregon back in 2001. The ceremony had more than 300 guests, including teammates Brady Leaf and former Duck Andy Collins serving as groomsmen. The newlyweds spent their honeymoon in Idaho and couldn't wait to get back to campus to start his preseason. Get ready for another Ducks year. But he says stability and security have really come from being married, Sean.
Wow, I expected Rhino to break out the wedding pictures there. He had all the details, as always. Pass thrown. Cameron Colvin, one of the top recruits and wide receiver in the country, coming out of high school last year, caught 14 balls as a freshman. That catch for 13, a yard short of the 1st down. Yeah, we asked Kellen about it the other day. How's married life? He said it's been awesome. He mentioned his wife, University of San Diego, Jim Harbaugh, now the football coach there. First year last year, they won 7 games. He's going to be a stud in coaching, just like his dad, Jack, who won a national championship at Western Kentucky.
I remember that. We were doing the Holiday Bowl last year, and you spoke with him and hooked up.
That's right. Gave me some money, so that's why I gave him that plug. 3rd down and short. And I don't think they got it, although the official on the near side running in on that yellow line. Jonathan Stewart, the next running back star at Oregon, according to Coach Bellotti. The true freshman with the carry. It's his first collegiate carry. And he just did get the 1st down. The crowd didn't think so.
Now that football, that's the key, isn't it? Not the back, not the fanny, but what was a football?
Stewart out of Lacey, Washington, rushed for more than 7,700 yards in high school and 95 touchdowns. Moving along the line, and a flag. Well, this is pretty typical of a first game, Craig.
And new offense.
Delay of game on the offense. 5-yard penalty. Still 1st down.
Without delay, here's Matt Weiner.
All right, Sean, thanks very much. Coming up at halftime, the old ball coach's new career begins tonight at South Carolina. We'll tell you how his Gamecocks look in the early going. Plus, we'll hear from our game day crew based in Columbia this evening. Plus, we'll take a look at the Major League wild card races, National League and American League, both coming up at the half.
All right, Matt, thank you. We'll look forward to that. 2:20 to go till halftime. Out of the gun on 1st down and 15. Clemens with time and a good throw. And a good gain. Cameron Colvin. Had a little bit of a problem as a freshman last year with drops and not running precise routes. He held on to that one for a 12-yard pickup.
Sure looks strong into his routes, though, doesn't he? A big, good-looking athlete, strong hands there. 6'2", 206. They have plenty of skilled players out here. And I think once they all figure this little system out here and Croton figures out the players that can make the plays, they'll be good.
Some recruiting services had him rated the top recruit out of the West 2 years ago when he came to Oregon. Out of De La Salle High School, one of the best high school programs in the nation. Back they go to Demetrius Williams and some nifty footwork to get out near midfield. Out to the 49, a pickup of 12 and a first down. 2 minutes to go, and the clock stops to move the chains.
Demetrius Williams helping his Oregon offense overcome a couple of mistakes here. A delay of game and a holding call. Nice athletic ability, and if you're not pursuing at Houston right now, Williams is taking that to the house.
Big half for Williams. 7 catches, 92 yards and a touchdown. 2 timeouts left for Oregon. The throw underneath to Tim Day. He got punished by Pope and Cox. Cox is from Bend, Oregon. He grew up a Ducks fan. He was providing the Houston players and coaches with a lot of little tidbits that he knew about this Oregon football program. He was excited about a chance to play against the Ducks. Second down and 3. A minute 20 to go in the half. Clemens forced to pitch it. Here's the highly touted freshman Stewart, and he has the first down. A true freshman. He's big and solid, 5'11", 230 pounds. Devout Christian. So the only thing that's very important to him is a relationship with God. They think he has an enormous future ahead of him.
Well, the defense had the right call, and they were in position to stop him. But Stewart had more speed than they had over there. That was very impressive.
He was one of 5 finalists for the Walter Payton Award as the best high school player in the nation last year. First and 10, under a minute to go in the half. Clemens underneath to James Finley. And the ball popped out. Was he down? Yes, say the officials. Art Briles didn't think so. He's right there. He thought the ball was out. Brendan Pahulu put a hit on Finley. Now, of course, there is the use of replay. And Art Briles is asking them to check the replay. Is that ball out? Looked like it was at least starting to come out. Finley trying to keep it on his hip as he was going to the ground. Oregon has called a timeout. Oregon has called timeout. Meanwhile, the referee Randy Smith is heading to the hood. Of course, the Big Ten used replay last year. Everybody, just about everybody, thought it was successfully so. So now 9 of the 11 conferences in 1A football will have some type of replay system this year, including Conference USA. You think he's down?
Well, I don't know. The ball coming up there. I'm not so certain about that. The technical advisor is upstairs. He thought it might have come out, so he's called for review.
In Conference USA, they're using a model similar to what the NFL uses in the final 2 minutes of play for each half. The technical advisor in the press box will decide on a review. That'll happen throughout the game, but it's the referee on the field who will make the final decision. So the technical advisor in the press box has signaled to the referee that he'd like him to look at this. There will not be any coaches challenge. You saw Art Briles asking him to go to the booth, but he does not have the authority to request that. They don't have to look at it just because he asked. The technical advisor has to stop the play.
Which is the same for both the Pac-10 and the Conference USA. The difference is that the referee here will make the call.
Yes,
in Pac-10, the TA does the call.
Yes, which is the way the Big Ten did it.
You know, and it has to be totally conclusive. I think the foot's down. I think the side of the leg on the bottom is down before the ball comes out.
Conference USA coaches felt unanimously that the referee on the field is the best option to use as instant replay is transitioned. The technical advisor has access to the referee through a vibrating pager. When he feels there's a questionable call, he'll activate that vibrating pager. You either tell them you need to look at a replay or your table is ready at the fast food place down the road. There seems to be some question about what the original call was.
He's asking, do you think it was coming out? I think he's asking for some input on judgment down there.
Of course, if the whistle blew, it makes a lot of this a moot point too, doesn't it? Because you can't recover the fumble if the whistle has already stopped the play.
After review, ruling on the field was that the player's leg was down before the ball came out. That was the case. The next down for Oregon. However, we need to add 5 seconds to the clock because Oregon called timeout before the clock was stopped. Please put 35 seconds on the clock to third down.
Well, that was well explained by Randy Smith in his maiden voyage.
Yeah, I think Randy did a good job there. The officiating crew did the right thing there. That's well explained.
So it'll be second down. Or will it? Looks like it's going to be second down from what the
Second down for Oregon. Second down.
marker has on the far side. 2nd and 1 at the 30. They wind the clock after they reset the ball, and now the officials are stopping it again.
Because the clock started.
The clock should not have started. Oregon had timeout. Please reset the clock to 35 seconds.
The officials are on top of it.
Yeah, we got a happy finger up top.
Yeah.
One timeout left for Oregon. 2nd and a yard at the Houston 30. The Ducks trailing by 4 points.
But the clock stops while the chains move, so they're going to get some stoppage and help with that one timeout.
They'd like a touchdown, obviously, but they've had a field goal kicker who's had a great half. Quick swing pass on the flat. Whitehead buried immediately by Willie Gaston, the junior from Houston, Texas. He's out of North Shore High School, one of the top 5A schools here in Texas. He was a quarterback in 25-3 as a starter in high school. Now a very talented cornerback, part of a 3-cornerback rotation. The gentleman in the blue there is Ron Harris, the defensive coordinator, who got the little pat on the shoulder from Coach Briles.
See, that's poor clock management there. That's 18 seconds that they burned on one play. And I think maybe what Oregon was hoping was it was close enough they were going to come out here and maybe measure officials' timeout for a measurement on the field, but it didn't happen, so they chew up 18 seconds on the clock right there. Your wheels are turning. I'm looking at you. You're thinking. You're going through what that was.
Trying to decide if I agree with you. I'm also trying to figure out what Mike Bellotti's doing, and I want to make sure that we amplify instant replay, that we explain what's going on. We mentioned 9 out of 11, so people at home might be saying, well, Sean and Craig, which are the two that aren't? It's the WAC and the Sun Belt. And in the Mountain West, they're going to let the coaches challenge. Do you like that? What do you think
I
is the
am
best?
a fan. I'm a fan of some form of instant replay, and I thought the Big Ten did a credible job last year. I really did.
That wasn't the question.
Okay, well,
Senator, could you answer the question? Which system do you like? You like the coaches to have challenges?
what part of that didn't you understand? I like the Big Ten. I think they had a credible system last
But
year.
you didn't say that was the best. You just said you liked it.
Okay, well, you're pulling an attorney kind of Harvard move on me here.
Well,
it was semantics that you're looking for, and I'm just telling you the Big Ten did a good job.
But did they do the best job?
You know, we'd be a great married couple, wouldn't
No, we would. But Maryland is the same. 1st and 10. 10th play of the drive. No timeouts left now. Blitz from Houston. Man wide open, far side of the field. Colvin wisely goes out of bounds, very near the marker. think he went out just short, but it was more important to stop the clock at the 19-yard line.
This Oregon Duck offensive line has had a very solid first half.
Yes.
Picking up blitzing, protection. Yeah, Clemens has been hit a few times, many of those on options, times when he's left the pocket.
Well, don't you think this new offense is helping? I mean, they're moving the ball quickly. They're getting rid of it quickly. Second less than a yard. 12 seconds to go and no timeouts. The clock will run. It'll stop to move the chains, but they need to be ready to snap it right into the ground. The stadium clock has gone to 0, but I'm not sure the timer stopped the clock to move the chains. They're going to review this. The Cougars are running off the field, but that was clearly a first down. The clock should have stopped to move the chains. The chains still have not moved, so that did not happen. They should put time back on the clock.
For a first down with 6 seconds on the clock. Please reset the game clock to 6 seconds.
That's the right idea.
Will start on the snap.
No question, that's the right idea.
Well, let me tell you who went up the tunnel. All the young guys. Because the smart guys who were out there on the field playing didn't want to waste any energy, you know, so they kind of hung around knowing.
Well, you're trying to steal the call, too.
Yeah. That was all the kickers and the punters and the freshmen that ran up the tunnel.
Tell you who's having a rough time here is the timekeeper.
Not a good night.
No. Art Brow's upset. You know, Mike Bellatti's been upset with the officials here in the last minute. I think the officials have done all right. It's the timekeeper who's caused them a lot of the problems. But they're going to have to be ready to go over the ball as soon as they deem it ready for play. That clock, the 6 seconds, are going to start ticking off. They have to be ready, do the Ducks, to spike that into the ground or run a play. Now you could theoretically snap and run a play if you're ready to go on the reset.
They need to be worried about getting in position for a field goal attempt.
Now Houston has called timeout. That's the reason for this longer delay. So Ron Harris has his defense around him. Do you think Oregon will just spike it and go for the field goal? Will you take advantage now of this?
You really kind of look at maybe 8 seconds to run a play.
Yeah.
You have to assume that it's going to take some time. And the last thing you want to do is eliminate a shot at 3. So I'd spike it. I'd get the field goal unit on the field.
You know, the 15-yard line, a quick throw doesn't necessarily get you in the end zone. That's the only thing that benefits you now over a field goal is if you could score the touchdown on this play. That might take all the 6 seconds. They're going to try to throw in the end zone, and it is broken up. But still, time on the clock, 2 seconds, as Willie Gaston knocked down the ball.
So you're telling me that only took 4 seconds to run that play? You know, that's mighty confident from the sideline in Oregon that you're going to be able to, because man, look at that. I guarantee you there's no way.
That's what Art Briles is saying. How did that only take 4 seconds? .32-yard field goal for Martinez, who's been a star in this half. 3 for 3, including a 51-yarder. This will be from 32. And he hooked it. No good, wide to the left. So after all that, it ends with a thud for Oregon at the end of the first half. Houston 21 and Oregon 17. Let's join Matt Weiner with the college football halftime report. And it's been a wide open first half in our return to campus. The debut of college football prime time here on ESPN2. 21-17 Houston over Oregon at the half. Plenty of highlights. The first touchdown of the ball game, Anthony Evans, a 6-yard run, but then the big play attack appeared for Houston. Donnie Avery, a 70-yard touchdown reception from Kevin Cobb. The only touchdown of the half for Oregon was on that short pass to Demetrius Williams. big half for Williams. He had 7 catches for 92 yards and a 3-yard touchdown. And then another bomb. Anthony Ulrich, 64 yards and a touchdown for Houston. As we look at the State Farm first half stats, only 9 completions for Houston, but good for 195 yards.
Yeah, and when you look at that, you've doubled them up. Houston has 10 yards per play almost to 5 yards per play for Oregon. So I really think in the second half here, Oregon's secondary, they better have gone in the halftime and said, okay, guys, this guy can throw the ball deep. Cobb has a great arm and he has great touch, so we better stay back a little bit. And I think Oregon's offensive line, who was really good early on, they need to be prepared now for some movement. Houston's defense is going to move a little bit more, maybe challenge them some because they can't run over Oregon's offensive line.
Yeah, both coaching staffs told us they'd be vanilla at the start of the game, try to see what the other guy was trying to do, then maybe adjust as they went along. The kickoff sails out of bounds off the foot of Matt Evenson.
Yeah,
there's the quarterback comparison, and both were very good in the first half.
No mistakes, no interceptions, and the consistency there of not making mistakes has been something that both quarterbacks wanted to accomplish here. So now you come out and it feels like Clemens is feeling his way a little bit through the underneath game. Okay, so Clemens is going to rear up, and the Cougar secondary better be prepared too, because he'll stretch you. He'll try to.
Kickoff went out of bounds, but after it crossed into the end zone, so it's a touchback. And Cobb comes out throwing. Short pass out to Anthony Ulrich, the sophomore from Denton, Texas. Let's find out what the coaches were talking about at the half with Dave Ryan.
All right, Sean just spoke with both coaches a few moments ago. As for Mark Wiles of Houston, he said he's pretty pleased with his team's run-pass balance, despite the fact that 199 of the team's 215 yards in the first half came via the air. He wants more short passing game attack to be more prevalent in this second half so he can dominate the clock a little bit. As for Mike Bellotti, he said, hey, our team lost the first half scoreboard, but really with 15-6 dominance and first downs, we may have really had the upper hand in this ball game so far. Disappointed with special teams, but said, hey, Houston just ran 22 plays on offense. Our defense should be really fresh for the second half. He feels he's got the big edge in the second half in that department, Sean.
It's a good point. You know, it's a good point about the fresh defense, but I'll say this, it's a fresh offense too. You know, the Cougars weren't out there long, and those short passes like they started out with, that's like a toss sweep. Nothing more than a toss sweep.
Is your name Sean?
No, but I just felt like I wanted to jump in there. I just said, you know what? I've been sitting here at halftime. I'm eager. I'm ready to go.
Well, I thought I had something interesting to say right off of Dave's very nice throw, and now the moment has come and gone. Cobb on the rollout, throws for a first down. Nice catch in traffic by Donnie Avery. The sophomore from Houston, good for a 10-yard gain. And as Dave told us, Art Briles wants short passes. We're seeing short passes.
You can't just play sandlot football all the time. You can't throw the ball down the field all the time. And by being disciplined coming underneath, you'll lull them back up underneath in the coverage and then hit the home run. Certainly the Cougars wide receivers, we've seen both these guys go deep already for big time touchdowns.
Flags stop the play for a false start against the University of Houston.
False start, 17 on the offense, 5-yard penalty, still first down.
Did you notice Anthony Evans just ran off the field limping?
He had the torn calf last year. We spoke with him yesterday. He said he's fully healthy and ready to go this year. He also said in the preseason that Houston reworked some of their blocking schemes, and he felt that was going to make a big difference this year. They faked the short pass, then Cobb deep down the seam. It's intercepted. He threw it over the head of Vincent Marshall into the hands of Aaron Gibson. And the senior from Fontana, California, brought it back to the 33-yard line. He led their team last year with 4 interceptions. This is the 7th of his career. Returned 22 yards. There is a flag on the play. Thrown along the near sideline.
Yeah, block in the back on this
During the
sideline.
return, legal block in the back, 95 on the white team. A 10-yard penalty from the spot of foul. First down.
So what Art Briles said to Dave Ryan at halftime, that he was trying to be disciplined. He was trying to throw the little fake there, but he tried to force it. Kevin Cobb can't force this throw. This is too tough of a throw over linebackers, over a zone blitz guy, a defensive lineman who dropped back. It's just not going to happen. There's your block in the back right there. Now he knew it too. Like, why did I do that?
As soon as he blocked him in the back, he threw his hands up over his head. So the walk-off moves him back to the 43. It's the first turnover committed by either team. And a chance for Oregon to take the lead. With a touchdown. Lots of faking. Then Clemens down the seam, and it's almost caught by Demetrius Williams with 7 catches in the first half. He had Ricky Wilson on his back. There is an injured Houston player down back near the line of scrimmage. Marquay Love, the junior nose tackle from Fort Worth. Part-time starter last year. Ron Harris, the defensive coordinator, talking with us yesterday about Love, said he's been a decent player, but we really think he has the potential to be a great player. And they're hoping that that will emerge this year.
A little bit of that razzle-dazzle there.
Yeah.
You know, a couple of fakes. And
well, you have to have faith in your offensive line to do all that. That takes time.
That's a good point.
As they tend to Love, we'll take a break. Just underway in the second half here in Houston, Texas. Back in Houston, and on second down, Clemens finds Finley. Rocky Schwartz pulled him down, but that's a first down for Oregon. Inside the Houston 20-yard line, down to the 17. It's a 26-yard gain on the completion of James Finley, the junior college transfer from Compton in the Los Angeles area, playing his first game at the University of Oregon.
And a mighty confident young man, he might say.
He tells Kellen Clemens, when all else fails, just throw the ball to James Finley. He's always open. Clemens with a blitz right in his face, throws it away. Threw it in the direction of Finley, who was not open.
It seems
as
like,
promised.
Yeah, it seems like when Houston tries to do the 3- and 4-man rush, Clemens takes advantage of it. They get them. Houston has to move linebackers. You know, they went to the 4-3 or 3-4 defense to take advantage of linebacker speed. They got to move those inside and outside linebackers.
Injuries starting to pile up. We've seen Evans and Love go down already in this half in just more than a minute. Now Rashawn Pope back up quickly. Let's get some information on what's going on down there from Dave.
Well, Sean, yesterday, as you remember, we met with Anthony Evans, the Houston running back, who told us last year he missed about 3 games. 5 weeks he was ineffective because of a pulled left calf muscle. Tonight, pulled right calf muscle. He said to trainers, I felt it pop, and he's out for the game. They're icing it, but he's very upset. He slammed his hands down on the bench here a moment ago because he's so angry he's out for the game.
Actually tore that left calf last year. Very painful injury. 2nd and 10. Quick toss to Finley. Coach Croton was marveling about Finley's skills. Physical, quick, great hands. They call him sticky because everything seems to stick to those hands. DJ Johnson made the tackle. There's Gary Croton.
Taking advantage on that call there of an aggressive Cougars defense up the middle. Smart call.
7 catches for Finley. Caught 64 in junior college last year. 83 as a senior in high school at Manual Arts in Los Angeles. Clemens throws short. It's up in the air and incomplete. Should have been caught, it appeared, from our vantage point by Tim Day, who's ordinarily sure-handed. He caught 35 balls last year, but he couldn't hold on. And here comes Martinez for the 5th time tonight. He's 3 for 4. Including a 51-yarder made. He missed a field goal right before the half.
He only had 2 options on that route, tight end and a wide receiver. and he was really focused and locked over there. So it wasn't like he could go backside. He'd made his movement to that side of the field. That surprises me. As you know, usually you would think there are going to be more options for him over there.
On the hash mark again, most of his kicks tonight have been from the angle. That's from 29 and good. 4th field goal of the night for Paul Martinez, the junior from Danville, California. Mike Bellotti and the Ducks back within 1, just underway in the second half here in Houston.
ESPN2's College Football Primetime. Brought to you by Allstate, a proud sponsor of the Bowl Championship Series. And Baby Ruth from Nestle, the real deal.
Tonight here in Houston, just the second meeting all time in football between Oregon and Houston. They played out in Eugene back in 1983, and Oregon won 15-14. A 1-point lead right now for Houston. The Ducks taking advantage of the interception to kick another field goal and make it 21-20 in favor of the Cougars. Houston has not scored since 3.5 minutes remained in the first quarter. Kevin Cobb will try to get the offense moving again.
Yeah, they didn't try to do that fake lineup like they're going to onside kick here.
With the backup kicker again kicking off, Evenson comes down to Ricky Wilson. Had a 74-yard return earlier. And this is another good one out to the 45-yard line. 35 yards on the run back. And the special teams remain a problem for Oregon. Here's Dave Ryan.
Well, special teams trouble for Oregon tonight, Sean. And how about the cramps and injuries on the Houston sideline? Marquet Love, we saw on that last Oregon drive, the big defensive tackle went down for the Cougars. He tells me it's cramps and he will return. Now, defensive coordinator Ron Harris just reminded the defensive unit a few moments ago, keep drinking Gatorade, drink lots of fluids, stay hydrated so you'll avoid the cramps. Unfortunately, bad news, though, for Wade Cole. We saw just leave, the star linebacker of Houston. Not a cramp, sprained left knee. Doubtful he'll come back.
Man.
That's a big loss. He's one of the few experienced linebackers in that 3-4 alignment. Down the seam and incomplete. Looking for the backup tight end, John McGilvery. Coach Brile said yesterday he'd been the most pleasant surprise of their preseason camp. It performed very well. Senior from Mexia, Texas.
Mejia.
Mejia, is that how you say it?
Yeah. Mejia.
M-E-X-I-A?
Yes. It's just good local knowledge. I drive through there going to College Station to see my daughter.
I believe you, but I'm just... See, I never
it just didn't make sense, though.
I wondered if that was really the pronunciation. I just figured, what else could it be?
A couple of drops.
By Vincent Marshall. And you can sense that there is no rhythm in this Houston offense right now.
Air's gone out flat.
Yes.
They came out and they tried to force something, and he throws the interception in the last series. Oregon converts. Now they've got to get the focus back, and some of it has to do with the sidelines and the cramping. You know, they're over there now. The players are going down. Teammates are seeing it, noticing it. They got to make some plays here. They get the kickoff return. You'd think that lift them up.
So is this country over here Mejia Cole?
Are you still on that, aren't you? That doesn't make sense, does it?
Well,
and a guy of your intelligence, it has to be practical to you.
Exactly. Cobb throws it underneath. And Gilbert slides down about 3 yards short of the first down. Kevin Cobb looking at the sideline, but also looking at Gilbert to say, hey, you know, we need 3 more yards for the first down. Now it's 4th down. Looks like they might go for it.
Or try to get them to jump off sides, see if Oregon might make a mistake. But I think it's critical for field position right now.
They have 3 receivers lined up wide there and only 2 defenders for Oregon. Vincent Marshall takes advantage and goes for the first down. A very late flag thrown from the official deep in the defensive secondary. Justin Finnessy tackled Marshall. Houston indicating the penalty is against Oregon.
Number 42 on the defense. 15-yard penalty.
One of the things Nick Aliotti told us, the defensive coordinator, Craig, is Houston will go very quickly. If they line up and they see that you don't have enough men out there to cover, they will snap it quickly and go, and that's what they did. They had 3 receivers, only 2 defenders out there, and they capitalized, and then the face mask on Brent Haberly.
Don't you notice or get the feeling that Art Briles sensed his team was flat, and a punt, letting them go down the field and perhaps score again would have been too much to overcome, and he took the aggressive approach to it.
Yep, trying to shake his team out of the apparent lethargy, and it might have worked. 17 yards, and then the penalty tacked on. And a tough run by Ryan Gilbert, getting the bulk of the work at running back now with Evans on the bench with the injured calf. Haberly, the walk-on middle linebacker, even though he's been #1 on the depth chart since spring, they still have not put him on scholarship. He said, yeah, I've thought about that, but I really haven't done anything yet either. They don't start school till much later this month, so they don't really have to start paying bills till then. We're told that perhaps in another week or 2 he'll be put on scholarship.
Man,
perhaps.
I'd like to go into that school. Start in September, middle of September.
From the 10-yard line, too quick a throw. Perhaps if it was intended for 21 Harold Taylor. If it was intended for Donnie Avery, it was too low. So take your pick. And last year, not only does Oregon start the school year, they were the last team to start their season in all of Division 1A football, and then they opened with that dud against Indiana. Tonight, the exact opposite. On the first night you can play, they're out here playing the Houston Cougars.
What a benefit and a plus for Nick Aliotti and his staff and the players to have to face this kind of offense, because in a couple of weeks they're going to be facing in a high-octane conference opponent in USC.
And movement. The play is dead, even though the pass was caught at the 1. The flags and whistles were blowing. Flags were flying. Whistles were blowing.
False start. 13 on the offense. Prior to the snap, 5-yard penalty. Still 3rd down.
John McGilvery, the extra tight end. They'll move it back to the 15-yard line. It'll be 3rd down and 9.
Houston's the team cramping, and that's to many people surprising because they're used to this climate and everything else. But I believe that as an athlete, Monday through Thursday or Wednesday, when you're practicing, you're expending it. You're throwing out a lot of fluids, and if you're not replacing it before the game day, you're going to lose it quickly during the game.
Third down and 9. Houston with the ball and a 1-point lead. Shovel pass inside to Kendall Briles. He's down at the 9, short of the first down. You'd have to think they'd try the field goal here. But again, they have questions in the kicking game. The 2 true freshman kickers. The scholarship kicker, Garrett Lefevre, is injured. And Art Briles did tell us yesterday, as a result, you might see us do things on 4th down we ordinarily wouldn't do. Well, this might be one of them right here.
They graduated snapper, holder, kicker, you know.
4th down and 3. 3 receivers right now, the timeout. They might have just been trying to get them to jump offside. First timeout expended by either team here in the second half. Saturday night, the 2-time defending national champions, USC, winners of 22 straight games. They open their title defense, looking to be the first team in modern history to win 3 national championships in a row. Matt Leinart, Reggie Bush, that talented cast. Maybe the best offense ever, June Jones, the Hawaii coach, said. He has to stop he and his Hawaii Rainbow. So June won't be on the field playing. He'll be on the field coaching. Jerry Gland will be trying to help him. There was some controversy the last time they played, too, about the coaches didn't shake hands after the game. Pete Carroll said it was really just kind of a miscommunication. But some thought there's bad blood there, too.
You just don't miscommunicate after a game when you miss a shake of a hand.
That's on purpose.
And
what you're saying?
Norm Chow's not in the booth to go against a Jerry Glanville. You know, there is a change. You cannot deny that USC is going to have to do this without Norm Chow over there calling offensive plays.
Well,
and it's not
I still like Leinart and Bush in the
rest. We do, but there's a change.
I think you could coach them up in this score.
Maybe.
Well,
I don't know.
Maybe not. What was that?
Terrible.
What happened there, Craig? I don't think the center snapped the ball. They all moved. The center didn't snap the ball.
Yeah, he's just trying to get that field goal unit
We
out
have
there.
no play. The ball was never marked ready for play. The ball was never snapped.
Oh. Well, that appears to be a break for Houston because that was totally out of sync. Well, they're still going to go for it. No sign of the kicker. You like this move? Unproven kicker. You're down here on the 9. Go for it. 4th and 3.
But when you're winning 21-0, I'd take the points.
Cobb in trouble. Has to get rid of it, and it's incomplete. Out of bounds. Would have been short of the first down anyway. Caught by Avery. Not what they had in mind, especially after the timeout. So they'll turn it over on downs to the Ducks. I think you really have to have very little faith in your kicker to not take the 3 points there and go up by more than a field goal again.
And in a close game like this, you've sent a message to the young man, whoever's going to try to go out there and kick. If you need him here in a little bit, it's like, okay, now there's double pressure on me.
Yep.
I will say this. That was a successful drive from the standpoint of 4th down conversion at midfield. Let their defense catch their breath a little bit more. A little.
They're the ones who are cramping. They thought they'd have the home field advantage in the heat and humidity. The roof open. Temperature well up into the 90s at kickoff. Terrence Whitehead on first down. Out to the 14-yard line. Gary Croton, we talked about this hodgepodge offense. He said we spent a lot of time looking at Utah, primarily for their spread running game. The quarterback runs out of the spread. He said we looked at Texas Tech for the quick passing game. We looked at Bowling Green. They run the same kind of spread that Utah ran because Urban Meyer really put them both in. But they do more misdirections, boots and nakeds. They've borrowed from this and that. It's been a pretty nice mixture here tonight. They haven't put in the end zone as often as they'd like. They've been settling for field goals, but they have had the edge in time of possession, first downs. They've moved up and down the field. Clemens tripped up at the 17-yard line. They'll need about 3 here to move the chains, maybe a long 2.
Wade Cole is out of the game. The quick, experienced linebacker for the Cougars. In his place now has come in 49, James Fitch. So Fitch is on the hot seat right now to play discipline.
Already thin at linebacker. Lance Everson, who would have been their starting inside linebacker, is out with a knee injury. Clemens up to the line. 5 receivers, 3 to his left, 2 to the right. Clemens throws, first down. James Finley bounced out of bounds at the 23-yard line. There's a flag down deep down the field.
A delay of game.
They didn't get it off.
Against the offense. The 5-yard penalty. Still be 3rd down.
Well, it is not a big crowd here. There are only fans in the lower bowl of the stadium. But it's a noisy bunch.
It's a good crowd, and you know they're playing in Reliant Stadium, which is not their home stadium. And if they were playing on campus in a 35,000 environment, this is a very nice crowd.
And if I had hair, I'd be doing shampoo commercials, but that's not the way it is. 10 penalties against Oregon for 80 yards. 3rd down and 8. Heavy rush. Clemens runs, needs to get near the 20, and he did. And then knocked out of bounds. They wanted a late hit. They're not going to get it. Rocky Schwartz hit him along the boundary. Kellen Clemens showing his terrific athleticism.
And the Cougars tried to pinch with corner blitz coming off the side to contain Kellen Clemens. And Clemens just on the ground. 8 carries, 27 yards. That's a lot more carries than I had thought he would have.
He's thrown for 5,300 yards and change. Only Danny O'Neill and Bill Musgrave had thrown for more entering their junior season than Kellen Clemens. Now a senior. Finley out to the 35-yard line.
You've got a significantly different defense now. Rashawn Pope is not out there. Cole's not out there. And you can see a difference. It's a tentative group.
Ball batted up in the air and it falls incomplete. Marquay Love had the cramp. He is back in there. 99, the nose tackle. Well, certainly Finley has been a nice addition to the arsenal available to Clemens. He's had 8 catches tonight for 64 yards. They've been waiting a long time in Eugene for Finley to play. Originally committed to Oregon State in 02, Oregon in 03, but did not gain eligibility at either school. He spent time at Compton in junior college. Very frustrated. He knew he had the talent to be a major performer at this level, but just academically could not gain admission. This time Demetrius Williams has it stripped. Incomplete. Looked like a catch, but then it was knocked away by Joseph Gonzalez.
And Gonzalez was a part of a 5-man rotation who just came in the game to get a fresh unit out there. A very smart, timely transition by the Cougars defense and their staff. And that's a nice little poke on the ball.
Joseph Gonzalez from Gonzales, Texas.
You got that right. That's how they said it.
I was just going to ask you, did I pronounce that one right?
It's Gonzalez.
Where is that?
Or Gonzalez. It's down south. Down off, south central.
3rd and 10. Out of the gun, Clemens. 5-man rush. He steps up away from all 5 and throws for a first down. Cameron Colvin swung down in Houston territory at the 44-yard line. Boy, these rushers are just running right by Kellen Clemens. That's a 21-yard gain.
You're on it, Sean. They definitely, the pass rushers are messing up at Houston. Once they get up to the middle of the field, you'll see how there's a void right here in the middle on the left side. It's like the Cougars are not looking at Clemens in the backfield as much as they are the Oregon offensive line.
Now back to the run. It's Clemens after an excellent fake to Whitehead. He may go all the way. Only the speedy Wilson able to drag him down. A flag thrown at the end, perhaps for a face mask. And Clemens still managed to drag the tacklers about 5 yards all the way down to the 1. A 43-yard run by Kellen Clemens.
Incidental face mask. 5 yards against the defense. Penalty be half the distance to the goal. First down.
So the old farmer, the old cowboy,
the rancher,
out of the Northwest doing a little doggy riding here. I'm telling you, get on the back. Let's go for a ride, young man. Cougars are getting beaten out ankles. They're tired. This is a tired football team.
Chance for Oregon to take its 2nd lead of the night. They led briefly 3-0 in the first quarter. And there it is. Touchdown. They put the backup quarterback Dennis Dixon in, and the sophomore from San Leandro, California, scores the touchdown. You saw Mike Bellotti asking his assistant coaches, should he go for 2? 1 would give him a 6-point lead. I think with this much time left, you go for 1.
I think with a tired defense, you go for 2.
Go for 2. All right.
Yeah, old Mo, as they say. Old momentum's done sitting squarely in the bench of the Oregon Ducks.
And Houston has not scored since the end of the first quarter. They've already converted a 2-point play once tonight. The pitch to Whitehead. He will walk in. Clemens held it just long enough to draw the defender. And it's a 7-point lead for Oregon, the largest of the night for the Ducks. Mike Bellotti and his staff pushing the right buttons, making the right decisions. They look to be the much fresher team, even though they're playing in the heat and humidity of the hometown Houston Cougars. Down by a touchdown, now leads by a touchdown. Kellen Clemens doing a nice job directing this offense. 252 yards passing and 72 rushing.
You recognize, Sean, that there are 2 quarterbacks in the Pac-10 who are on the Davey O'Brien watch list. Matt Leinert's one, and the other is
Kellen Clemens.
You got it.
Short kickoff fielded by John McGilvery, and he's out to the 37-yard line. And here's Dave Ryan.
All right, Sean, thanks so much. Very happy Oregon sideline here. A lot of smiles. Very happy quarterback. And Kellen Clemens, who's put up 376 yards of offense, now 28 points. Over the summer, he studied hard the game tapes from Gary Crowton's days, both at Louisiana Tech and when he coached at BYU. The 3 years he was the Tech coach, he watched every single game tape, broke down the offensive formations. Same thing for all 4 years worth of the BYU offenses under Coach Crowton. He says, hey, I feel very comfortable with this new offense. It's a lot like being in high school. I have more freedom, and obviously it's working out well tonight for Clemens.
Indeed it is. Cobb under duress does well to run ahead for about 2 across the 40-yard line. Maloti Nada nearby. We haven't called his name very often, but
not a much,
but a lot of times the defensive tackles are moving the pocket and forcing the issue. They don't necessarily make the play. And he is a difference maker. There's no question about that.
He usually has 2 big bodies on him. Now, unfortunately for the Cougars offense, they're going against a defense that knows they're going to be trying to throw the football.
I think the good news for both sides is there is improved offensive line play for both of these teams over a year ago when they had a very tough time protecting the passer. Timeout Houston, 1 left for Art Briles, and Dave Bryan talked about the positive energy on the Oregon sideline. You can see that bunch over there on the Houston sideline looks a little down right now.
They had the big kickoff return for the last series, right? And they convert a 4th down at midfield. I really thought they should have tried for the points. You know, some points would have given them a good feeling about it. 24-21. But it didn't happen.
It did not happen. It's ancient history now. Friends, the ESPN College Football Encyclopedia is the biggest, richest reference guide ever published on the history of college football. And if you ever tried to pick it up, as we have, it's big and heavy.
It's huge. Yeah.
Read about the profiles, the records, statistical leaders, fight song lyrics of all 119 Division I programs, the Ivy League schools, the most prominent historically black colleges dating back to 1869. You must be in this book.
Just made it, just as the cutoff.
Box scores for every major ball game ever played, vote breakdowns for every Heisman race, a complete list of every year's consensus All-American. Available now wherever books are sold. Vincent Marshall couldn't make the catch.
Kevin Cobb is off. He can't be off. You know, he has to maintain his composure and step up and make that throw.
He was 4 for 8 in the first quarter for 151 yards. He's thrown for 71 yards since. Did not connect with Marshall, who came here on a track scholarship. But once he started playing football, you're a dual sport athlete, and football is one of your sports. You must be on a football scholarship, so he is now. Swing pass, and Ryan Gilbert will not get the first down. Tackled around the ankles along the far side of the field. Nice play by Patrick Chung. And another punt situation for Houston.
And this is not the time to gamble away. I mean, we're still in, you know, there's some time here. He's got to really punt the ball. The defense has to step up.
Justin Laird comes on to punt with 6 minutes to go in the third quarter. Laird's a junior from Lee High School in Baytown, Texas. And Justin Finnessy back to receive the punt. He took one back for a touchdown last year, 73 yards against UCLA. Was 11th in the country last year, averaged 15.5 per punt return. And he brings that one back to the 31, a 16-yard return of a 42-yard punt. Art Briles said, want my team to be calm and composed when things are going well and when they're not going well. Right now they're not going well. We'll see if the Cougars can maintain their composure and their physical strength. It seems to be, particularly on the defense now, a matter of fatigue and cramps that are setting in.
And a couple of key players who aren't out there. Outside linebacker Cole, Hope in the secondary.
Clemens brings them out right over the ball. 1st and 10. Oregon at its own 31-yard line. Cougars showed blitz and rushed 4. There are men all over the place now open. This is Demetrius Williams with the catch out to the 35-yard line. perhaps the 36. It's a gain of 5.
And you also get a feeling too now, Sean, that Oregon's offense, the longer they played this game, Clemens has become more effective with it, hasn't he? More efficient. That little play right there. It's not a running play, but it's picking up 4 or 5 yards.
Clemens with time again right down the seam. James Finley had one man to beat, and that man was Pope, who made the tackle at the 44-yard line of Houston. Touchdown saving tackle.
And the Cougars linebackers are turning their hips, but they're not moving their feet. You know, this is one of those, they're going through the motions right now.
Ron Harris, the defensive coordinator, said young men like Allen, we think they're talented. They're going to be good players, but they just haven't played at all. We don't know how they'll do in their first taste of action. 1st and 10. Clemens in trouble. One of the few plays that just didn't look good right from the start. And he's down for a loss back to the 48-yard line.
Houston's continuing to rotate, shifting 2, 3, 4 guys, fresh bodies coming in on the field. But Kellen Clemens definitely is much more poised. This offense is settling down.
Only 3 receivers now. 2 tight ends. Clemens flush, chase from behind, dumps it off short for Whitehead. Flag thrown late. He gets bounced out of bounds at the 38-yard line. So it gets worse for Houston. Play was about 5 yards short of the first down. Tate Stewart made the tackle. Ricky Wilson delivered that hit, but the flag was thrown back in the offensive backfield. I believe they hit Clemens late in the head. The walk-off moves the ball all the way to the 23-yard line. 4 minutes to go, 3rd quarter. Oregon looks like it's about to take command of this game. Gary Croat has done a very nice job with the mixed play calling. First time in a game situation for this new offense. And it is clicking very well right now as the Ducks try to win their season opener for the 19th time in the last 22 years. Finley near another first down at the 13-yard line. Mentioned that Finley was frustrated when he couldn't get into Oregon, but he said he learned from watching his dad, who had a stroke while he was in junior college. His dad had to learn to walk again, and he said that made my adversity seem like nothing.
Sean, you saw how when Finley caught the ball, there were no red jerseys around there. There's a receiving mode on the defense right now. They're allowing Oregon to come to them. There's no attack.
Finley has 10 catches, 95 yards. Demetrius Williams 8 catches, 97 yards. We're going to have 2 100-yard receivers tonight the way this is going. Whitehead stacked up and driven back after a gain of very little. Richard leading the defense. Gerard Richard, the defensive end, senior from Houston. I think this could be his breakout season. He's been held back by injuries the last few years. Ankle and wrist injuries limited him to 5 games last year. 2nd and 9. Clemens decides to keep, saw the seam, and he was upended by Ricky Wilson at the 7-yard line. It'll be 3rd down and 4, perhaps 5 for the Ducks.
I wonder if Houston came into this game expecting the quarterback to carry the ball as often as he has.
Well, they do, as they had read and heard about Oregon changing this offense, using the Utah spread with the quarterback running a lot. So I would say yes, they expect him to carry it. Whether this much, I don't know. He's carried it 11 times for 72 yards. 3rd down and 5. No pressure on him now from this very tired defense, and the throw too low.
Maybe he should have run that one.
Dante Rosario, the intended receiver. And the throw in there just a little bit low. And now a very big field goal for Martinez to give it a 2-score advantage to Oregon. Another try from near the hash mark. This one from the left. And it'll be a 24-yarder.
Well, at the numbers that Clemens is working on, he might pass for 300 and rush for 100. And you know the last person to do that, Sean? I don't either.
And that kick is good, just inside the right upright. He's 5 out of 6, making his debut as the Oregon field goal kicker. Paul Martinez, junior from Danville, once their punter, lost that job last year. Friends, we cannot remind you enough, and you need no reminding, that victims of Hurricane Katrina need your help. The American Red Cross provides help to disaster victims with food, shelter, clothing, counseling, and much more. Your support is needed for the American Red Cross Disaster Relief Fund. To make a contribution, please contact the American Red Cross today. You can call them at 1-800-HELP-NOW or visit www.redcross.org.
We're driving into the stadium today, and a family's on the side of the street. Remember, we rolled the window down and we asked them.
Yeah, they were waiting at the traffic light as we were waiting to turn into the stadium. They had the pink wristbands on, so we could tell that they were evacuees, refugees next door at the Astrodome.
2 kids, young kids with them, and we asked them. The mother said, our house is gone. We have nothing. But she said, we have, everything.
So
we have our
family
families
is all
here
together, and that's all we need. We'll get through this.
What a strong
Unbelievable.
story.
And so much of what we have watched and what those people are enduring is absolutely unbelievable. Oh, boy. Wilson caught the kickoff and went out of bounds at the 4-yard line. It was going to go out of bounds. He caught it, and instead they will start at the 4-yard line.
You know, when you get tired, you become mentally just half the athlete that you used to be, and you get lazy. You do things just crazy.
Well, the good news is they gave him a very good spot. They're going to put the ball on the 5. I'm not sure he got anywhere near the 5-yard line. So if you're looking for the silver lining, there it is.
What?
Picked up about a half yard on the spot.
Well, I like the fact that he got both feet in bounds.
The Oregon scoring drive, 9 plays, 62 yards to set up the 24-yard field goal. They took 3.5 more off the clock. They are dominating in time of possession. Almost 2-1 now. And Gilbert stopped for a loss. A.J. Tuatelli, the linebacker.
Linebackers ought to have a pretty good run here with the defensive line that Oregon has. Even though they're inexperienced, don't quite know what they have. When you've got Nada up there pushing them around, you should stay free of blockers.
Haloti Nada, we mentioned Nick Galliotti called him a mammoth man. He squats 615 pounds, benches 505, cleans 407. All of them are highs in their program. There's McGilvery, the backup tight end. He started 1 game in his career prior to tonight. That was at left tackle back in 2003. John goes for a 16-yard gain there and a much-needed first down for Houston. Cougars just 53 yards of offense in this half.
And most of it happened really in the first quarter.
And they haven't really sustained many drives. It's been the big plays or nothing for this Houston attack. Here's Marshall, track athlete who can fly, pulled down. He has another first down out near the 33-yard line. Marshall is a triple jumper, long jumper, and sprinter. Had no intention of playing football after leaving high school at Ennis, about 32 miles from Dallas. Did I pronounce that right?
You're on it.
Thank you very much. He played in an all-star game after his senior football season during the summer. Played very well. The Houston coaches, then head coach Dana Dimmel, was there. And they indicated, Marshall, hey, we'd like you to play football. He came and watched summer football practice for a couple of days, decided, yep, he still had the bug to play football. And he's played ever since, still competes in track. Cobb is going to run. There's a flag down. Cobb dives to the 40, 3 yards shy of the first down. The flag thrown in the offensive backfield.
Holding, So 74 on the offense. 10-yard penalty from the previous spot. Still first down.
This one, it looked like Art Briles and the offense were starting to get something going. A costly penalty. Here's Matt Weiner.
Sean, over on ESPNU, it's Vanderbilt in Wake Forest. Wake spotted the Commodores an 11-point lead, but then came back with lots of this guy. Micah Andrews, a sophomore, filling in for the suspended Chris Barkley, has 243 yards on the night and still counting.
Wow. Well, you can throw out the records when the Commodores and the Demon Deacons get together. "20 seconds to go in the third quarter. Cobb, quick hitter to Kendall Briles. He gets bounced out of bounds.
It's a name we haven't called much of tonight that I thought would be more involved in this offense.
J.D. Nelson made the tackle. Briles has been a sporadic target tonight. Former state high school player of the year, Texas Class 4A offensive player of the year twice. First team All-State quarterback. Went to Texas, was a safety, hurt his shoulder, then transferred here to Houston when his dad got the head coaching job. On 2nd and 13. Another short pattern to Marshall for very little.
You know,
Marshall told us yesterday, by the way, he is certain they're going to a bowl game this year. Would help if they win tonight.
Yep.
It's gone downhill after a great start for Art Briles and the Houston Cougars. They haven't scored since the first quarter. They trail 31-21. Kellen Clemens and the Oregon offense taking over the proceedings on opening night on ESPN2. It has been all Oregon since the first quarter. They've overcome a couple of one-touchdown deficits. They take a 10-point lead led by Kellen Clemens. The coaches said they changed the offense in part to take advantage of the athleticism of their quarterback. And we've seen evidence that this is a nice blend of quarterback skills and offense of philosophy tonight.
He's not hesitant at all. He's playing the game. His athletic ability is going. And in a new offense, that's impressive. So it gives you confidence that 2, 3, 4, 5 weeks from now, he should be really comfortable in this offense.
Hey, for the opening night in any offense, never mind a new offense, with as much as they're trying to do within this offense, they've been very impressive. Third down for Houston on the opening play of the fourth quarter. 3rd and 10. Cougars at their own 33. Cobb flush from the pocket, and then it was almost intercepted.
Good defense.
Gibson in the coverage area. Kwame Ajaman, an extra defensive back, also there. And another punt for Houston.
And I think this is when people hear, you know, conference. I think Conference USA, the Mountain West, they're the MAC. I lump them together. They have good players. They can play for a while, but they don't have the depth and the size to compete with the Pac-10, Big Ten, SEC, ACC, Big 12. And we're seeing it right here.
Yeah. Justin Laird with a good punt. Justin Finnessy back to receive it. And another good run back by one of the best punt returners in the country. Out to the 49-yard line. 28-yard return of a 42-yard punt. ESPN Game Plan is available on TV and online. To order, call your PPV provider. Or go to ESPN.com, keyword Game Plan. PPV. I should have said pay-per-view. It's just easier. They try to abbreviate this to make it easier for guys like me, and it just winds up messing me up. Do they have that in Mejia?
Again,
Texas?
When you're so intelligent, things just don't, they're supposed to be logical.
What if you're not intelligent like myself? That's when the problems really begin. Anyway, ESPN Game Plan, it's awesome. Get it.
I can read things like that, no problem.
Not so fast, my friend.
Well,
Coach Corso would say.
Not so fast.
Clemens looking for a knockout punch, and what a catch by Demetrius Williams. He just went up and ripped it away from Ricky Wilson. 36-yard gain for Demetrius Williams.
And again, Clemens has all the time in the world in the pocket, but Williams, the way he comes and moves to the ball, body position, so that Ricky Wilson can't go to it. Puts his body between the defender and the ball.
9 catches for 133 yards. 112 career receptions now for Demetrius. From the 15. Clemens pitched it out late to Cameron Colvin, the wide receiver. Flags down on the play. Colvin down inside the 10 at about the 8. Houston defenders indicating a holding call against Oregon.
Holding, 18 on the offense. It's a 10-yard penalty from the spot of the foul. Still first down.
A lot of penalties tonight. The 11th against Oregon for 90 yards. Houston's been penalized 9 times for 75 yards. Now, Craig, to amplify your point about Houston, Conference USA, they lose Louisville, which was becoming the powerhouse team, had become the powerhouse team. They go to the Big East. Houston has lost 8 of its last 9 games against opponents from BCS conferences. They've played 2 per year. And the only win dating back to 2000 against the BCS school was against Mississippi State in 2003. Now, to their credit, they played a lot of big-time schools since then. LSU, Texas 3 times, Michigan, Miami, Oklahoma, now Oregon. You're not going to beat those teams very often, but they're not. Dennis Dixon, the ball carrier.
And I think they're working. They're building the platform. You heard Dave Maggard, the AD, talk about how you need to play high-profile opponents to measure yourself, and to give the athlete out there you're recruiting a shot at playing against an Oregon, a Pac-10 high reputation team.
This can be a difficult place. They have not won consistently here since the days of Bill Yeoman, who coached here for 25 years and is still actively involved with the program, maintains an office in their athletic complex. Coach Yeoman now 77 years old, and they tell us he can still shoot pretty close to his age on the golf course. There's Bill. Thank you. I had a feeling it wasn't the person wearing the teal sweater. I mean, we had 2 options in that picture, basically.
Yeah.
And did you think we really needed the arrow to tell us which one was Bill Yeoman?
Well, you know, I haven't drawn in a while, and I was looking for something to entertain myself.
Tom Penders, the basketball coach, also nearby. Craig will utilize the telestrator perhaps later to point him out. To the end zone. Touchdown, Dante Rosario. He just ran away from the tired defense, and the Ducks are running away from the Cougars.
Rosario was a fullback last year. We've talked about the move that he's taken now to the wide receiver slot. That's a really difficult catch.
Yep.
And a nice throw and a good finish to it. But you're right, they are. They're a fresh football team. They're out there playing against a tired, run-down Cougar defense.
Cougars thought the heat and humidity would be to their advantage. They look spent and have for a while.
Boy, 2 years ago, I was down and watched Oregon play at Mississippi State. Kind of thought the same thing. Maybe they were going to go down to Mississippi State at in a hot environment, humid night. It didn't work out that way. Clemens and company beat them. I mean, they just kept going.
I think they're going to review this to see if Rosario is in bounds. It looked like he got the 1 foot in. Second foot was out of bounds, but you just need the 1.
I thought the left foot was in when he had the ball in his hands.
Well, let's see. When he has possession, does he juggle it a little bit there?
I just think he was just with it in his hands.
Yeah.
Oh, he's got total control. He was spinning the ball.
Well, Andy Smith's going to take a look at it. We talked to the Houston players yesterday too, Craig. Wade Cole told us, last year they might have been a little fat and happy after the bowl game the year before. Didn't work as hard as they should. He said this year these players worked extra hard in their off-season programs, their conditioning. They worked out a lot together as a team this summer. I don't think they're going to overturn that.
No, that's a touchdown. But Sean, I don't think that they should be. They'll be disappointed. But this is not like they've come out here and laid an egg. They came out here and played a pretty strong team for a half.
Well, I think athletically, though, it looked like they had the athletes to match up. But when they started losing some players, and
to injuries,
started setting in.
No depth.
Lack of depth, which is, you know, in a program like this is also an issue. This is a hard place to commute, but to recruit to. We mentioned it's a commuter school. Art Prowse was saying yesterday he thinks Houston is the most recruited city in the country for high school football players. There are a lot of high schools here. There are a lot of very good players here. Guys like Craig James came out of Houston.
Thank you.
But he said because there's so much talent here, everybody comes down here and recruits because you can see a lot of players and go after a lot of players while you're here.
Bill Yeoman, when he was having so much success at Houston, he would go to the smaller surrounding schools, and he would recruit a kid to come in to the city and play for him. And he always had really good, hard-playing athletes. I think Art Briles has been successful in getting some of the kids from inside the city here, you know,
Yes.
that are more Houston kids.
But a lot of them are guys who, like we mentioned earlier, Cade Lane and some of the others, didn't have any other options. This was their best chance to play football at a high level. And Art Browse talks about trying to find guys you think you can develop and make them into terrific football players over the course of the 5 years here.
They're in the projecting business.
Yeah, because if they go after the same player as the University of Texas or Texas A&M or some of the others, like Oklahoma, who comes down to Texas and does so well in recruiting, they're not going to get those guys the vast majority of the time.
I do believe that the Conference USA, that Western Division, is with Houston and Tulsa and SMU and Rice and UTEP. Those are common areas of interest, and I think all of those schools will start getting some of the better athletes that were maybe not going Big 12, but were going off to the ACC or the Pac-10.
People might be wondering who's in Conference USA now. With all the maneuvering, Conference USA was affected greatly with teams coming and going. We'll show you the new lineup of Conference USA in a moment after a rather lengthy look at it. Here's Randy
The ruling
Smith.
on the field. The receiver possessed the ball, came down with 1 foot in bounds. Is confirmed. We have a touchdown.
I don't know how long that took, but it took too long. You know, I like there being 4 minutes roughly. We're told. I mean, that's too long. You need to get in there and start the clock. You know, when you walk in the peeper there,
You're hungry now, aren't you? I can usually tell when you get tired and hungry, you get a little cranky.
Yeah, I know.
That was your first minor temper tantrum of the season.
I knew we ate too early today. You know, I timed it wrong.
Extra point up and good. And the Ducks lead 38-21 with 13:16 to go. Been a great night for Gary Croton. This new offense at Oregon, engineered by Kellen Clemens. We're talking about Conference USA and the new alignment. Here it is. Marshall among the newcomers with UCF. And one of the nice things, now Rice and Houston are back in the same league for the first time in 10 years. That'll rekindle a nice rivalry. They, of course, played last year. Rice beat them, which got them off and running in the wrong direction. Did Houston. Perry McDaniel returns the kickoff. But those are two schools 4.5 miles apart. They're big rivals, and it'll be nice that they're in the same league again.
They were very wise about the regional flair of their and the touch to it. It makes sense. And the schools are somewhat similar in size and the academic approach, etc.
Nice regional league. You know, it's what leagues used to be.
It is.
Kind of,
yeah, it's
when
good.
It was the Southwest Conference. It was the Southwest Conference.
Yeah.
Now these things have names that would indicate some sort of geographic commonality, but it isn't always that way. Tulsa next against Minnesota. Speaking of Conference USA. More of the same now for this Houston offense. They were looking for John McGilvery. He could not make the catch. 2nd and 10 for the Cougars. Just more than 13 minutes to go. They have the capability of scoring bunches as we saw in the first quarter, but they haven't done anything since the first quarter.
They do have the ability to go 80 yards on any given snap.
5 wide receivers, 4 to the left. They throw to the 1 to the right. And it's Avery for a very short gain. Taken out of bounds by Aaron Gibson. Here's Matt Weiner.
Sean, we had a good one over on ESPNU. Vanderbilt trailing by 3 in the final minutes of the game, but they go 4 plays, 49 yards. Jeff Jennings polishes it off, and the Commodores get their first season opening win in 8 years.
Oh, good for them against an ACC foe. There's a lateral back to Gilbert, and he will be close to the first down. Looks like they're going to mark him just shy. We've seen Art Briles take some chances on 4th down. This would be deeper in his own territory, but down by 17 with this little time left and everything going against you, and only 1 timeout left. I say, why not go for it, Craig James?
Man, you can be down 17 or 24, so just go for it.
They're going to measure, give them a chance to talk it over. I think he's short because the yellow line never lies. One of the great innovations in the history of sports television. You take that to the house every time.
Yeah,
every time.
Yeah.
You think they should project that yellow line right across the field? It would have helped guys like you who used to run out of bounds all the time. But if you knew you were only, a yard from the first down thing, because you could see that yellow stripe, maybe you would have, stayed in bounds.
Well, that kind of falls. That comment falls in the same category of wherever you go, there you are. Because if you move the yellow line, a football player, they'd be like,
I don't want to ask you to explain that. I just can only imagine how proud they are at SMU right now. 4th and inches. They are going to go for it. Quick snap. First down. And more. As they gave it to Jackie Battle, short yardage specialist. And he rumbled across the 40 out to the 41-yard line.
So Houston has lost on defense. We know of a couple of players, and Anthony Evans on offense, the running back, out with the other calf pulled. So
Wade Cole, he's injured. Enjoyed speaking with him yesterday. He likes to fix up cars. He's a 1973 Plymouth Duster, which he rebuilt when he was in high school. Deep throw knocked down by Aaron Gibson. It was intended for Donnie Avery. Cole's also their best student. At least he won the team academic award, 3.44.
Really?
In finance.
It's good.
Is that better than you?
No, we
added all your semesters together.
Yeah, that's right. You just had you got to work with the system, Sean.
That's it.
If you're going to ask for a number, you just kind of average. Bring them all together.
2nd and 10 from the 41 out of the shotgun. Cobb a fake and then a throw, and that might be another one of those balls, Craig, that is hard for Briles to catch because of the shoulder. When it's insert, not to make excuses for him, because it was a tough catch even if you had 2 good shoulders, but because his shoulder is so bad, when the ball is thrown in a certain spot, it's very hard for him to catch it.
Yeah, and he's had 3 shoulder surgeries, I guess. And so
dating back to high school, a lot
of shoulder problems. I can relate to that. But you know what? When you talk about the arm of Cobb, that last throw, the 2 throws ago down the field, that was 50-something yards in the air. And I'm not sure Oregon, they almost got burned on that throw.
Yeah. Well, Coach Briles says Cobb is going to play in the NFL. Above average arm, great intelligence. He's sacked this time. First time he's been sacked tonight, and it was Haloti Ngata. Houston will have to punt as we check in with Matt Weiner.
Sean, Central Florida likely looking at their 16th straight loss, but not going away just yet. After a muffed South Carolina punt, it's Stephen Moffitt. Mike Walker closes the gap to 14, and still plenty of time left in Columbia.
George O'Leary looking for his first win as coach at Central Florida after an 0 for last year. Justin Laird punts "35-yard punt and a 10-yard return by Andy L. Brown.
ESPN2's College Football Primetime, brought to you by Gatorade Thirst Quencher. Gatorade, is it in you? And Russell Athletic, who has proudly outfitted 25 Heisman winners. Are you Russell material?
Back at Reliant Stadium in Houston, Texas. Oregon leading by 17 as the college football season begins tonight. Sean McDonough with Craig James and Dave Ryan. Delighted to have you with us. A memorable performance for Kellen Clemens. He's thrown for 348 yards and 2 touchdowns. He's rushed for 72. He's looking for a lot more, going deep. Has a receiver open, and it's incomplete. He was looking for Jordan Kent, making his college football debut tonight. He's well known to Oregon Duck fans. He's on the basketball team and the track team. He's an All-American in track. And he started 9 games for his dad, Ernie Kent, the basketball coach at Oregon last year, known for his defense and rebounding. He can fly. He ran right by Ricky Wilson, and his first touch was almost a long touchdown.
It sure was. And, you know, as a coach, two things you'll recognize. One is speed, and number 2, the fact that he saw the ball in the air that was inside. He made the adjustment trying to get back to it.
Clemens keeps and goes down for no gain. Kent, a great athlete, 6'5", 210, runs a 10-400 meters. Competes in the 100, 200 long jump and the relay team at the University of Oregon. He says basketball practice is hard, track's hard, but they're nothing compared to football. He said, I'll never complain about contact in basketball practice again after what he's been through. Never played tackle football before this experience this year. Played flag football in junior high. He didn't know how to buckle his chin strap and put his pads on when he first came out. Dennis Dixon in a quarterback, and that's incomplete. But the coaches say you see at practice every day flashes of that great athleticism, improvement, and they think he's going to be a contributor before the year is over. Mike Bellotti says, I'm treating him like just a true freshman.
And the fact that he has no background, so it's not like he's learning new terminology of Gary Croton. You know, he's got a clean slate, and so what he's hearing now is for the first time, and he's putting it to use in his way mentally.
He has a chance to be the first 3-sport letter winner at Oregon in the post-World War II era. Dragic gets the punt off, and Vincent Marshall called for a fair catch and then got touched, so they throw a flag after a 41-yard punt.
I wonder if Ken enjoys school with all the different workouts. And
when does he have time to go to class? Looks like Aaron Gibson ran into Marshall.
Personal foul, 5 on the kicking team. Tackled a player who had signaled for a fair catch, 15 yards, first down.
Well, tackled is a little much. He just kind of grabbed him, but he's still not allowed to do it. But Jordan Kent said to his dad, you know, I have something serious I need to talk to you about. And Dad, Ernie Kent, the basketball coach, thought he was going to say he wanted to get married. He said, no, I want to play football. And first, the dad wasn't that excited about it. First of all, he's a dad. Secondly, you know, that's one of his basketball players. But he realized his son really wanted to do it. He's taken to it. And it does give Ernie Kent, the basketball coach, another scholarship. Because we said if you're a dual sport athlete, in this case, 3-sport athlete, and one of them is football, you have to be on a football scholarship by NCAA rules. So that'll open up a basketball scholarship for his dad. Give to somebody else. He's still going to play basketball, but he's going to go all the way to the end of the football season, including the bowl game with football, then join the basketball program.
If you can get a good athlete like that you can project and get him to come out and work hard, he has probably, I don't know him in basketball, but he's got more upside in football probably than basketball.
Jackie Battle, the ball carrier. Let's bring in Dave Ryan, himself a tremendous all-around athlete.
Oh, yeah.
Well, thanks a lot, Sean. Ernie Kent, the basketball coach at Oregon, is here tonight. Now, he thought after about 4 days of football workouts, his son Jordan would get hit a few times, would pack it in, and concentrate on basketball. But Jordan was hooked, and as you mentioned, Coach Mike Bellotti told Ernie and Jordan that, hey, Jordan's got real potential. He'll miss the preseason basketball camp and several Ducks hoop games. He may not join the team until about January or so when the Pac-10 season starts. Ernie says he'd like Jordan to be with the team when basketball returns back on September 15th for all those preseason workouts. So he'll miss the basics of conditioning. But, guys, I'm guessing, speaking of athleticism, he'll be in pretty good shape considering all the football workouts, games, practices he's gone through.
No. I mean, there's a big difference. A football player doesn't really have to be in great shape. Basketball, you've got to be in shape.
A football player does not have to be in great shape.
It's a different kind of shape. I mean, basketball, it's a different kind of conditioning.
Well, it's different muscles, too. You know, I think of guys like Ronald Curry who played football in North Carolina. Then when he had a basketball season, he had a tough time because he was a little too muscular and stiff to go out and be a fluid basketball player.
It's going to impact his basketball. It might make him tougher in some ways, and I just don't know him as a basketball player, but conditioning-wise.
Well, that screen looked a lot more promising than it ended up for Gilbert. There was nobody near him when he caught the pass. He goes down at the 49 of Oregon, 2 yards short of the first down.
Now, a guy like Dave Ryan, he's always in shape. You know, he can run. It doesn't matter the sport. It's consistent, consistently average.
I went for a jog today with Rhino.
Did you? Did you notice that I declined to go with you guys? You were nice and asked me.
That. And Rhino was just flying around the beautiful Rice University campus. Quick pass out to Perry McDaniel.
Man, that's a big arm.
Yeah, he has a good arm. You think they should be trying to go a bit more quickly? You know, they're down 17. We're under 9 minutes to go. They're not really in a full hurry up to the line mode. You need 3 scores. Let's go. I think Rhino wanted to chime in after you and basically insulted his athleticism. Rhino?
Well, Sean, I'll tell you this. We had that good jog, about 3 miles, right, yesterday and today around the Rice campus.
That's enough when it's 98 degrees, I think.
But I'm exhausted from walking these sidelines. First game of the year, I'm not in sideline reporter football shape. It's a big difference. You got to walk around constantly. My feet are killing me.
It is tough. And your back starts hurting down there.
Exactly, Pony.
We're
exactly right.
Well, I tell you what, Sean and I are sitting in chairs right now.
Yeah, we usually stand, but we're not in midseason form standing yet, so we're sitting. Jackie Bates, a nice tackle on the last play. He came up to chop down Harold Taylor. Backup tailback, and may see more action if Evans is going to be banged up for the next few weeks. Ooh. Out to Kendall Briles, and he was hit immediately by Aaron Gibson. Gibson thrown into the fire very early in his career, got off to a shaky start, but he has developed into one of the best cornerbacks in the West. This is his 23rd career start tonight.
Boy, didn't you tell us a story earlier about how Cobb really liked Kendall Briles?
Yeah, you wouldn't know it.
Not on that one.
Based on that. If he didn't have a sore shoulder, Briles, he does now. 3rd down and long, 15 from the 47, and the clock running down to 7:45 to go. Houston down by 17. Cobb with a lot of time. And his pass too high for Donnie Avery. 4th down. Let's see what Coach Briles does. Long way to go in terms of the yardage to gain for a first down, but 7.5 to go, down by 17. They're going to go for it.
You know, if they hold on, this is a nice performance by Oregon.
Yeah, you know, the defense was shaky early, gave up some big plays, but first game of the year, playing with some new people, playing an offense that does a little bit of everything, and you're just trying to get your bearings, and since then they've been outstanding. Just a 3-man rush. Cobb has nobody in sight. Oh, there's a mistake. You don't want to catch that on 4th down. Of course, you want the stats, Rodney Woods, but he just cost them about 40 yards of field position. You know, they're celebrating, but it's a bad play.
7 yards on his opening carry.
Well,
shaping up as a tough night for Conference USA. Not that that one's over, but our booth.
Well, did you think that Tulsa was going to go beat Minnesota?
No, we
I
are
didn't either.
projecting Minnesota as the winner already,
Yes,
based on
it's
early
early.
returns.
Yes.
Here are some other key games here in September. I'll be in Athens with Mike Gottfried, a real professional, on Saturday night to watch Georgia and Boise State. And you're going to be down in Tallahassee with the ABC studio crew.
Yep, Monday
for
night.
Miami and Florida State.
Yep, Monday
Drew
night.
Weatherford at quarterback for the Noles.
Boy, you know what? They're looking for a quarterback, aren't they? Florida State's trying to figure it out. They've been trying to figure out all that for a while. I think Florida State's really, they're searching.
There's the highly touted freshman Stewart, and you can understand why they are so excited about the future of Jonathan Stewart. Rushed for 7,795 yards at Timberline High School up in Lacey, Washington. 95 touchdowns, over 1,000 yards all 4 years in high school. That's a 33-yard run from a powerfully built true freshman.
They say there's a circus atmosphere and certainly of expectations for him already, and pretty level-headed young man, and is going to have a bright future.
Mike Bellotti says he's as good as any recruit we've ever had. Second in the Washington State meet in the 100 meters last spring, despite the fact that he had a tight hamstring. There's Terrell Jackson. They're just ripping holes now through this totally wiped out Houston defense. Stewart put up the kind of numbers in high school that you did here in the Houston area. In one game against Centralia, 422 yards. His single game high for touchdowns was 9.
In one game,
in
9?
One game, 9.
Did the opponent show up?
Apparently not. They didn't get the memo. But he spent the summer. He's close to his family. Mentioned a very religious young man. Dixon back in at quarterback. Spent the summer working at a grocery store in Lacey, Washington. Did the Oregon conditioning drills kind of on his own, but wanted to spend a little more time at home. Pretty powerful there to bounce off a tackle and get 2 or 3 more. I'd say they're in good shape at running back with Whitehead, Jackson, and Stewart.
A 3-headed tandem. What? Wait a minute. That was a
trio, perhaps.
It's getting late, man. I've been busted on my...
Well, we want to give you a lot of credit. I mean, you scrambled to get over here when we learned that Mike Gottfried was not going to be able to get here from
Man, I hope
Mobile,
Mike's doing
Alabama.
okay.
Yes, we do. Mike and his beautiful family. Look forward to seeing Mike on Saturday night in Athens.
That's going to be a good game. You know, that Boise State game, they've lost 2 games in the last 2 years. The opponent was supposed to have been Tulane, who backed out of the deal. So Georgia had to find an opponent. So they go get instead of a team who's 10-13 in the last 2 years, they've got a team that's lost twice in the last 2 years.
And Georgia has a lot of key players who are suspended for this first game. Boise State has 3 themselves who will not play, key players due to suspension.
Offside. Defense, number 90, 5-yard penalty. Penalty results in a first down.
They're probably...
I think Boise State won over a lot of people with their only loss last year when they played a really good Louisville team. We spoke with Dan Hawkins, the Boise State coach, the other day. He said he thought Louisville, with the exception of USC, had as much talent as anybody else.
Second down.
Well, I think Louisville has a sincere chance of going undefeated this year. I really do.
In the Big East, they are the favorite in their first year.
I think Louisville has a chance with Brian Brom at quarterback to be one heck of a football team. Bush running the ball, big kid that used to be a quarterback. They're a physical, big team.
There's Dixon. They love his athleticism. They get tackled about 6 yards out of bounds, and the officials throw the flag.
And that would be huge for the Big East.
Personal foul, 35 on the defense. Penalty will be half the distance and an automatic first down.
That's the Oregon native Todd Cox, guilty of the late hit out of bounds. We'll get you right to Minnesota and Tulsa as soon as we're finished here at Reliant Stadium in Houston. Nice
start. After a shaky beginning of this game, it's turned out to be a very comfortable opener for Mike Bellotti in Oregon. They'll go home for their next 3 games against Montana, Fresno State, another very good team, and USC before they have to head on the road again. Dixon throws, and it is intercepted and brought back by Trent Allen to the 16-yard line. The sophomore from Longview, Texas, with the interception, first of his career.
You mentioned that Oregon has Fresno State coming up. I don't know how they're not going to look ahead. I mean, when you talk about USC, and that USC in there, I can't even draw and make it match. But USC, that's going to be a game. That could be a game.
First time they'll play USC in 3 years. They'll host Montana for the first time since 1993. And for the first time in school history, Oregon is also going to host both Oregon State and Washington in the same season.
It's a night game. USC at Oregon.
It is.
At Oregon at night.
Where it's very loud.
Right.
Second and 10 for Houston. Under 4 minutes to go. And this will be a disappointing start. This was a game they thought they had a chance to win, and the way it started, it looked like they had a very good chance to win. They're in action on the 10th, a week from Saturday against Sam Houston State. Back on their campus. And then at UTEP, and that'll be a big game for the Cougars because UTEP is the team the coaches picked, the only team to finish ahead of them in the West Division of Conference USA.
UTEP there, Coach Price out there has put it together. You know, it's a good place to play. They get some fan support. Oregon's offensive line, I may have to nod them as co-MVPs of this game.
They've done a nice job, and the new offense certainly seems to help. Anthony Aldridge, he's had a good night. Mostly as a receiver. That time he took the handoff and was stopped at the 41, about 2 yards short of the first down. A gain of 8. Still 7-0 in favor of Minnesota after the early touchdown run by Maroney. They're about midway through the first quarter now. The second quarter. Pardon me. Wow, they're going quickly.
Imagine that.
Has this game been that long? I guess it has. Some questions are rhetorical. That one didn't really need an answer. Jackie Battle, the junior from Humble, Texas. I pronounced that right.
Humble.
No,
you did, because it's not humble. It's humble.
It's spelled humble,
but it's humble. You did good there.
So other than
Mexia.
M-E-X-I-A.
Yeah.
That's an interesting pronunciation.
Yeah.
It's bananas. B-A-N-A-N-A-S. I don't know how to spell that word this summer listening to the radio.
How do you pronounce P-E-C-A-N?
What is it?
P-E-C-A-N.
P-E-C-A-N. Is that a Texas town? Or just
no, that's something that, yeah, the pie, yeah.
What is it? Pecan?
Which I'm asking you, how do you pronounce it?
I don't.
You don't? You don't eat pecan pie?
Yeah, I don't like that kind of pie. Whatever it is.
It's pecan. But you go up north in Boston, it's pecan.
We were here first, Craig.
I know you were.
The Mayflower.
And I think y'all may have had the first pecan pie.
Battle for a first down to the 39-yard line. Under 2.5 to go. In this season opener in college football on ESPN2. Nice to see Battle back in action. He was their MVP when they played in the Hawaii Bowl in '03. Rushed for a career high 124 yards. Looked like that would catapult him into last season. But a lot of injuries last year, most notably the torn tendon in his finger that required surgery. He's hard to stop.
Yes.
He had only one play last year when he was stopped for negative yardage, and that was a loss of 1. Blade Bossler, the tight end, with his first catch of the night. Friends, again, we remind you, help the victims of Hurricane Katrina. There is so much need in so many areas. The American Red Cross does so much to help. You can help. Call 1-800-HELP-NOW or visit www.redcross.org. More and more of the evacuees from New Orleans arriving right next door at the Astrodome. Boy, you have to commend the city and county officials here, the city of Houston, Harris County, and the people of Texas for what they are doing, opening their hearts to the victims, their neighbors from Louisiana and the rest of the Gulf Coast. Twaina with a sack. Matt's had a good night up front.
Yep.
Junior from American Samoa.
Speaking of charities, how's yours going? You and Aaron, your sister, put together your foundation's fundraiser coming up September 19th.
Yeah, we'll miss you this year. You'll be in,
ESPN's got me off working.
I know. Hate when the job gets in the way of fun.
Man,
yeah, we have
and it is fun.
Big celebrity golf tournament in Boston on September 18th and 19th.
That is an awesome event. And for all the boys and girls up there,
the labor of love.
It is awesome. Really, really well done.
Well, Aaron does all the work, but I appreciate you mentioning. Kevin Cobb, the ball carrier, and he got back near the original line of scrimmage. 3rd down and 11. Cobb picked up 9. Nearing a minute to go. And I think a sign, Craig, of good coaching is when you adjust. And that's what Oregon has done. Nick Aliotti, in my opinion, you know, they scored a lot of points in the Pac-10. He's taken some heat from time to time. But I think Mike Bellotti knows more about football than most. He knows what he has in Nick Aliotti. And that is a defensive squad that is very well coached.
There have been a lot of nice adjustments. The offensive coaching staff in Oregon with the offensive line. Steve Greatwood, the offensive line coach.
Yeah, it's unusual when you have turnover on this Oregon staff. They have a group that's been together a long time. But Andy Ludwig had been the offensive coordinator. He went to Utah to be the offensive coordinator on that new staff. So that opened the door for Gary Croton. Mike Bellotti said, I didn't bring in Gary Croton and then change the offense. I knew I wanted to make a lot of changes. I interviewed about 3 or 4 guys. And Gary Croton just seemed like the best fit. I liked his background. I liked his upbeat attitude and optimism. Our defensive coaches had a lot of respect for what Gary had done in other places that he had been. And it looks like it's going to be a nice fit. You know, Gary Croton, it's going to be hard to go from being a head coach to an assistant coach. Although I think Gary Croton has the kind of lack of ego that he's going to be able to handle it very well.
And I think he's probably looking forward to it right now. Getting rid of those pressures, going back to football.
We're going to try a field goal here. And it's Ben Bell's first field goal attempt of his career, and it's good. Pardon me. It was not Bell, it was Lefevre. The scholarship true freshman compared to the walk-on Bell. They said they'd use Lefevre for the longer kicks. And that was a longer kick, 43 yards. Well, he's had a little bit of a groin injury.
And always getting something good out of it. You know what I'm saying, Sean? It's, you know, here's Art Briles walking away from the game on a positive for his kicker. Because he, what quarter was that? When they
didn't try the short field goal.
When they were still in the lead.
No, they were up by a point.
21-20.
21-20. Decided to forego what
a chip
on the
shot.
9-yard line, what would have been about a 26-yard field goal. And, you know, that might have been a chance. I mean, the way it was going, it's doubtful would have made a difference, but it seemed like a chance to at least stem the momentum Oregon had for a little bit. Instead, they went for it on downs, didn't get it, and Oregon just kept on rolling.
They went the whole distance and scored. Mike Bellotti's a good football coach, and
you know, they have so many kickers. It wasn't Lefevre or Bell. It was T.J. Lawrence, number 36. Was not even on our kicker depth chart. I mean, that's how many options. That's how wide open this kicker thing was.
I don't have any eligibility left. I'd go out and try to kick. I'm a square toe guy, though, straight on.
He's going to kick off as well now that he's hot.
You know, keep going while you're hot. So they're going to take a knee. And that's it. An impressive start to the season as Oregon tries to bounce back from the 5-6 of a year ago. That new look offense led by Kellen Clemens, very impressive. Oregon 38, Houston 24. This has been a presentation of ESPN2, the worldwide leader in sports. Now for Craig James and Dave Ryan, Sean McDonough saying good night from Houston. Coming up next, Minnesota and Tulsa with Eric Collins and Bill Curry.